is good? What is good? We're in. Hollow said he would join soon. He come in, I'll screen share everything to him. Alright, we got we're gonna watch some ghost videos tonight. Some funny YouTube videos. Let me make sure. We're actually recording. We are actually recording. Anyone know any ghost videos? Just send them through. There's one on Discord. Three ice cream truck horror stories. Think that's scary, chat? I heard a lot of people get mad about but either way, we're gonna be looking up here.
Entrepreneurial attitude, I started my
Check this out.
I drove an ice cream truck for a couple of years. I am the kind of person who never stops.
Anyways, we're check out this ice cream truck horror story. See how scary it is.
Stopped at one place or at one job. I kind of did everything I could to earn money to travel the world. After a part-time job at a local restaurant, I was getting bored in a small town. I was planning to go out and get on the roads. I had this one friend from school who told me she has got a permanent job as a chef in California. I remember she had an ice cream truck, so without wasting any more time, I asked her if I could rent that from her to make some money. I won't lie, she not only gave me the truck forever, but didn't even take a single penny from me. So, with an entrepreneurial attitude, I started my mini business. I had no idea that I always had a knack for the food business. I started to travel in that truck and sell ice cream for a living in the entire Oklahoma area. I renovated the truck with my hard-earned savings and started a new chapter in my life. I generally stopped near playgrounds and schools in the evenings. The fun part of the job was to see kids chattering around me with excitement and laughter. After a month,
you guys think something paranormal?
I became familiar with the kids. I remember every little face to whom I sold ice cream. It was a warm summer afternoon, also a holiday. Expecting the children to come early to the park, I started driving the truck to the location. When I reached the park, I saw children have started to arrive. I pulled the truck under a tree near the sidewalks and rang the bell attached to the truck. They all gathered around the truck and started asking for their favorites while raising $1 with their tiny hands. It was like feeding 1,000 tadpoles in a small pond. I was busy distributing the ice cream when my eyes went to a little boy sitting at some distance. He was sitting on a green bench while keeping his head down. It seemed really odd that amidst all these active kids, the boy was on his own like this. Almost every kid in the park took ice cream from me, but that boy didn't even turn around once towards the truck. I thought, maybe he has no money. So I decided to give that kid a chocolate cone for free. I turned around and prepared a cone for him, but when I looked back, he was gone. The empty bench lied there. I got a bit sad and started to clean the truck before moving on to another spot. I was cleaning the floor of the truck when I heard a small knock on the order desk. I turned around and saw that it was that little boy who was sitting on that bench a few minutes back. He was standing near the truck, but his head was still down. Sun was about to set, so the area under the tree got a bit darker than usual. I couldn't see his face at all. I asked in a cheerful voice, "Do you want an ice cream?" Without moving up his head, he raised his small hands toward me and said,
"A strawberry cone, please."
His fingers were dirty and there were mud under his nails. It seemed like he dug the ground with his small hands just a few moments back.
Dang.
I gave him the strawberry cone, but refused to take the money. But he didn't move away. He just stood there like before, holding the dollar on his muddy hand as it dangled in the air. The kid's body language felt very weird to me. I have never seen such a calm and extremely quiet kid like him till now. I took the money, and the kid took his strawberry cone and turned around to walk away. "Hey, what is your name?" He stopped and without turning around replied,
Mom told me never to talk to strangers. I have to go home. She's waiting for me.
He then walked away.
Okay.
I got a bit surprised seeing this kid's obedience towards his mother. Such a well-behaved kid, I thought to myself. That night, after coming home, I still couldn't stop thinking about that child's unexpected behavior. I decided to go to the same park tomorrow and talk to that kid more. The next day, I went there again. As I went on selling ice cream, my eyes kept scanning the park for that little boy the entire time. At a point, when I realized he won't come today, I started to pack up for the day. I was putting the ice cream tubs inside the mini fridge when I almost gasped in fear. A small dirty hand was resting on the desk of the truck. It didn't take me a second to realize whose hand was that. "Jeez, you scared me," I said in a relieved voice. The boy stood like before, holding a dirty dollar in his hand while keeping his head down. I said, "Now, we are not strangers anymore. You can tell me your name?" He said in the same emotionless voice,
I'm Mikael.
"Well, hello, Mikael. Do you come here alone?" He nodded his head slowly from up to down. I handed him his strawberry ice cream. As I went to take the dollar from his hand, my fingers ran over his index finger, and his dirty nail came off, revealing the red flesh underneath. "Oh God, you are hurt. You need help," I said, seeing this vicious sight. But without saying anything, the boy turned around and started to walk away. It seemed like he didn't even feel the pain when the nail came off. Drops of blood laid on the desk, and I watched the boy walk away as if nothing happened. I couldn't hold my curiosity anymore. As soon as he went behind that tree, I came down and started to follow him. The boy was walking towards the left corner of the park that was now in complete darkness. This side was also covered with vines and weeds. I had no intention of scaring the child, so I maintained my distance and watched him secretly. After walking to a big tree at the end of the park, he stopped under it. The small lamp on the other side of the road gave me some light to that corner. The boy crouched down on the road and started digging up the soil with his small hands. He dug without stopping. His nails and fingers cut open with the pressure. Raw flesh and blood came out of his wounds as he went on. But I still couldn't see his face. I was thinking to stop this child from hurting himself like this when the boy placed the ice cream in the pit he just dug up and buried it with soil again. I couldn't watch anymore, so I came out from the bushes screaming. "What are you doing? Are you all right?" For the first time, the boy lifted up his face towards me. On that warm summer evening, I felt a gush of cold wind shivering down my spine. The kid had no eyes. Instead of his eyeballs, dark hollow eye sockets stared at me. A painful expression appeared on his face and he said,
I want to go home, but no matter how much I dig to come out, I always end up here.
and vanished in the air right in front of my eyes. I fell to the floor with a huge shock. My mouth opened in shock and my heart stopped in fear. Sweat appeared on my forehead as I tried to make out what just happened a few seconds earlier. I can't explain how...
What do they call them? The no-eyed children? What do they call them? What do they call them? It's weeping children? God, what do they call them? So yeah, paranormal. This one's paranormal. That was pretty dope. Can't lie.
Fell to the floor with a huge shock. My mouth opened in shock and my heart stopped in fear. Sweat appeared on my forehead as I tried to make out what just happened a few seconds earlier. I can't explain how I picked myself up that day and returned home. The next day, when I went to that park, I saw cops near the park and it was sealed like a crime scene. A small crowd gathered on the sidewalk and watched this entire situation. Out of confusion, I asked the man standing in the crowd, "What's going on here?" He said in a restless voice, "They have traced a missing kid from last month. It seemed like someone abducted this kid for ransom and later murdered him. An old woman came to jog in the morning when her dog dug up that ground under the tree. That's when she saw a small hand lurking beneath the soil. Look, there he is." I followed the man's eyes and saw the paramedic taking away a corpse of a small child dressed exactly like that little boy. The corpse had no eyes, which supposedly got eaten by maggots. The body has been there for months, so its rotten smell made the air heavy. Everyone covered their nose, and some even walked away to avoid vomiting. It came to know that the boy's babysitter brought him to the park and later abducted him, asking for ransom from his parents. When they threatened her, saying she will never get away with this, the cruel woman strangled the boy and buried his body under that tree. The most shocking part was the kid was alive when she buried him. He fainted with the trauma and pressure on his neck, but when he regained consciousness, he found himself buried under the ground. He tried to come out while digging the soil, but choked to death during that struggle. His nails were all broken as he suffered silently. Now I actually understand what that kid meant when he said, "I want to go home, but no matter how much I dig to come out, I always end up here." The poor kid's soul was trapped here for a month, and all he wanted was to go home. I hope this kid is finally resting in peace. And to that babysitter, may she rot in jail for her entire life.
Nice.
Hey guys, I see many of you commenting on my videos that this channel deserves 1 million subscribers. But I also see the percent of people who watch my videos aren't actually, and you can always change.
I was in the 8th grade at the time. I remember the time well, as a lot of kids had been going missing from our neighborhood. I remember the first child to go missing. His name was Matthew Smith, and he was our neighbor's son. It gave me a lot of trauma going to school the next day and not seeing one of my classmates.
That would get kidnapped.
The weird activities had also put our town in fear, as the cops had no idea where the kids were or who was taking them. But amidst the horror of it all, there was a ray of hope that appeared as a shining light for us kids. And that ray of was Mr. Williams' ice cream truck. Mr. Williams was a man who regularly sold ice cream to our neighborhood. Every time I came back home from school, his ice cream truck would always be packed with kids. And while I believed he was a good man, most things about Mr. Williams was odd. First of all, he didn't drive a normal ice cream truck, as the vehicle he drove looked more like an RV than a truck, as it was much bigger than regular ice cream trucks.
He might have turned an RV into an ice cream truck.
He always had this weird, ecstatic look on his face every time he saw children. As I remember the first time I met him, he looked at me with wanting eyes like I was a treat. Finally, last weird thing about Mr. Williams was the distinct taste of his ice cream. It's really hard to explain, but you know how vanilla ice cream tastes the same regardless of which store you buy it from? Well, no other ice cream tasted like the one made by Mr. Williams, as whatever ingredients he used gave his own ice cream
for a friend to join, and we're just watching and it was still sweet at
the same time. I don't know what was in it, but I always craved the distinct taste of his particular ice cream, and I knew I wasn't alone, as every other kid always wanted it too. Visiting his truck soon became a tradition for me, till a weird occurrence that happened one afternoon. I had just come back from school, and as usual, I went to get some ice cream at Mr. Williams' truck. It was pretty crowded, as other kids were rushing to get theirs, so I decided to wait out the frenzy by going to the back of the truck. As I stood there waiting, I began to hear muffled noises coming from the back of the truck. I got curious, so I started to walk towards the truck so that I could try to make out what the noises were. I reached the door and I was about to place my ear on the door. I heard a loud, guttury scream come from the truck. The scream startled me, so I immediately arched back and fell on the floor. I was confused and scared at the same time as I began to ask myself, why was there a scream coming from the inside of an ice cream truck?
Children.
At first I thought Mr. Williams was in trouble, but as I began to think more deeply, I realized that the high-pitched scream belonged to a child. Numerous thoughts started running through my head as I sat down there, too scared to move. Eventually, everything became quiet as the screams of the excited kids rushing for ice cream had died down. As I got up to move, that's when the back of the ice cream truck opened up and Mr. Williams walked out. As he saw me sitting down on the floor, he looked at me with concerned eyes and said, "Tracy, isn't it?" I was still scared, so I didn't answer. He then continued with, "What happened to you? Did you fall down? You look pale, as if you've seen a ghost." I still didn't answer, but I just did the first thing that popped into my mind, and I bolted. I ran all the way to my house, and I locked the door behind me. That night, I went to bed with only one question on my mind. Who was the child who screamed in the back of Mr. Williams' truck? Throughout the following week, I avoided Mr. Williams' truck, as I was still a bit scared due to the incident. With every passing day, I delved deeper into my thoughts as I felt my curiosity eating at me. The next day, when I came back from school, I quietly slipped out of the house and I made my way to Mr. Williams' van. As usual, it was really
all the
crowded
work
and
I
busy,
got
so
left is to
amidst
drop
all the rowdiness, I
few
found my
packages
way to
off
the back of the truck.
Thursday.
The doors were closed. I stood there
And
for about
post,
30 minutes with
few
my
more
thoughts,
Pokemon
and I
cards
eventually
be
gave
scheduled
up. I didn't hear anything, so I turned my back to leave. And that's when Mr. Williams emerged from the back of the truck. He was taking out what seemed to be trash, and as he walked down the streets to where our garbage cans were situated, I noticed the door was slightly left ajar. I knew I had heard nothing while I was waiting, but something told me to take a peek inside just to clear all doubts.
Military.
So I walked forward and I peeked into the van. It was pretty dark inside and I couldn't see anything, so I decided to get in and take a better look. So I walked in. The inside of the van looked like a small room, but I decided to take out my phone and use its torch to look around. At first, I was confused as to what I was seeing, as posters and pictures of little children were plastered all over the walls. There were notes all over the place, and everything seemed wrong about the scene.
Pretty fucking weird.
I began to walk forward when I felt something brush my leg. I looked down to see I had passed a slightly large dog cage. I was about to peer in to see if I was brushed by the paw of the dog, and that's when I saw a little human hand pressed against the cage. I was shocked, so I instinctively arched back. I knew I had seen a child's hand, but I had to make sure, so I summoned the courage and I peered in. That's when I saw a young, gagged child stuffed inside the cage. I held myself from screaming and I began to back away. It didn't take long before I bumped into something. I quickly turned around to see an extra 4 cages. Each of them held more gagged children inside. Before I could scream, the lights came on and I heard Mr. Williams' voice say, "I see you found my children, Tracy." I slowly turned around to see crazy-looking Mr. Williams smiling at me. Now that the room was properly lit, saw numerous cages with tired, injured little children who were all gagged and whimpering inside them. "What is this, Mr. Williams?"
Storm warnings.
"So it's you who's taking all the kids away," I blurted out. "Taking?" he asked. No. You see, Tracy, these kids came to me. I didn't take anyone." "Liar," I screamed back. "It's obvious that you took them, but why? Why would you do such a thing?" I asked him in tears. "Why would I?" he shouted back at me, obviously frustrated. Why would life give the beautiful gift of children to everyone but me? I'd be a great father. I've always loved kids, but I can't have them. It hurt me deeply, but I wasn't gonna bitch about it, so I decided to collect them, to take them by force. And as you can see, I have amassed quite the collection. He spoke like the children weren't living, breathing human beings. He spoke like they were memorabilia, and it was one of the most horrible and horrific things I had ever heard. When he was done speaking, a tense silence filled the van. I tried to move forward, but he blocked my way. I stuttered. "But please let me go." And that's when he replied, "I'm afraid I can't let you do that. You see, I've had my eye on you
can't go nowhere
for a while now, Tracy. And I think you'd make a great addition to my collection." And before I could reply to the morbid statement, he lunged at me. I instinctivly threw my phone at him. It hit him in the eye, and he began to scream. With no hesitation, I bolted and I ran all the way home. And I told my mom everything that happened, and she immediately called the cops. When the cops arrived, they couldn't find Mr. Williams. No one could, as he had completely vanished. The incident traumatized me for the rest of my childhood, but with a lot of therapy, I moved on. Although I always jump at the sound of an ice cream truck, as I know Mr. Williams is still out there collecting children and spreading his ice cream.
He's probably not now. He's probably Probably
I loved
dead.
ice cream as a kid. I mean, what kid doesn't? I lived in a hot state too, so for kids in my town, hearing the ice cream truck jingle after a day hard at play
How
was
can
like
someone
seeing an
eat
oasis in the desert.
ice cream?
My friends and I always made sure to have a tenner in our pockets
Yeah, how
in
can
case the
someone
ice
eat
cream truck
ice
ever came
cream?
around. We all recognized the ice cream man by his
I don't
face
know how
with how
someone can do
often we
that.
saw him, and in return, he remembered all our names. Eventually, we learned his real name and started calling him by it instead of sir. His name was Harry, and he always looked a little worse for wear.
Harry
He was
Styles.
balding, middle-aged, and almost certainly depressed if his unkempt, unshaven face was anything to go by.
Gotcha.
Still, he was nice to all the kids who came by his ice cream truck and made the effort to remember the usual orders of all his regulars. Every time I went up to him, he'd say, "Hey, Joel, another strawberry popsicle today?" I'd either reply, "Yeah, thanks, Harry," or tell him I wanted something else if I wasn't in the mood for it. I imagine he probably did the same with all his regulars, and not just the kids. The adults were all fond of him too. The merciless heat didn't spare them just because they were grown-ups, and most of them saw nothing wrong with indulging in a sweet treat every now and again. It wasn't
Gotcha.
uncommon to see a couple of grown adults leaning on the parked ice cream truck, making casual conversation with Harry with ice cream cones in their hands. We all already lived in a small town where everyone knew each other, but Harry and his ice cream was a fixture in the community that helped bring everyone together. I think Harry liked having things that way too. Unlike us kids, he was able to get more off his chest talking about his life with other grown-ups. I'd sometimes overhear my own parents chat about how rough Harry's life had been, and what a good man is to still be so kind regardless of the fact. I don't know
Yeah,
the
we'll be
full
watching
details,
Nick's top 5
but I'd
after
heard
this.
enough about him from bits and pieces of conversations over time to know that he was divorced and that his son was in prison for some sort of violent crime. I tried not to think too much about it though. It wasn't like I could do much to help him anyways. I was just a kid, and as far as I was
I don't know.
concerned, he was just a friendly local ice cream man who everybody liked and will always be there on a hot day to give us a cold treat. Those happy days wouldn't last though. I was walking home late after hanging out at a friend's place. Since
just
everyone
cut
in the
out, you hear
neighborhood
that?
knew each other, my parents didn't really have a problem with 10-year-old me walking the
How many
streets alone.
takes? How many takes?
It was
you
a
think
hot
that took?
afternoon, and the path back home was long, so I was excited when I noticed Harry's ice cream truck coming up the road beside me. The fact that the ice cream jingle wasn't playing from the speakers like normal should have been a red flag. But at the time, all I could think about was, not much. I wanted a strawberry popsicle.
All I could think about was not much.
I waved down the ice cream truck and waited for it to park. When it did, I rushed over to the side stall, expecting to see the town's favorite booth.
I gotta have a fan on.
Instead, I was met with someone else entirely. He was a much younger man than Harry, who I'd never before seen in my life. And although he smiled as he greeted me, it lacked the friendly warmth I'd expect from the ice cream man I know. "Hey there, kiddo. What are you having?" "Strawberry popsicle, please," I told him. "One strawberry popsicle coming right up." The man disappeared into the truck for a moment before
Dude's
emerging
doing
with
all
a
the
wrapped
same
red
voices.
popsicle in his hand. I took it from his hand and noticed that the clear plastic packaging had become slightly torn. It wasn't an unusual sight. The plastic they used for these was as cheap as they came. What was odd was that I could see the popsicle had already partially melted, smeared the clear plastic with blobs of red.
Uh-oh.
Whoever this new ice cream man was, he wasn't quite as thorough as Harry has been at his job. "This is
There's blood on
$1.25,
it,
right?"
chat.
I asked as I rummaged through my pocket with one hand while holding the still packaged popsicle in the other. The young man held up his hand. "No need to pay," he told me. "Consider it a gift from me to you." I started to like this guy a bit more after he said that. "Gee, thanks."
The
Actually,
ice cream's made out of
his
human
eyes
flesh.
darted left and right, as if to see if there was anyone nearby. "How about I treat you to some more free ice
Uh-oh.
cream in the truck?" "Why would you do that?" I asked,
You're
starting
gonna
to
be
get
on
suspicious
Chris
again.
Hansen show.
"See, I'm new here in town, and I want to get along well with the kids here. So why don't you come inside so we can have a little chat? I'd love to get to know more about this place."
Oh.
No thank you," I told him.
Nah, bro.
"I actually have somewhere to be right now." "Aw, well that's a shame." The man was smiling, but I could see from his eyes that he was angry. "Take care then." He drove off and I continued my
pissed
walk
the
home
fuck off.
while trying to enjoy my popsicle, which was hard to do with how odd it was. Most of it still tasted like strawberry, but there was also an underlying metallic tint to it that I couldn't quite place. In the end, I couldn't even bring myself to finish the whole thing in one go with how strange it was.
Damn.
When I got home, I put the weird half-eaten popsicle in my freezer to continue eating later and went about the rest of my day as normal. The next day, I went downstairs from my room to see the face of the new ice cream man plastered on the news. My parents were both watching it with watery eyes. I was only somewhat shocked to see him there, but I didn't realize why my parents were crying until I listened to the news myself. The young man had been caught by the police in the middle of trying to coax another kid in town into his ice cream truck. They ended up inspecting his ice cream truck for it and found something that left the whole town shaking. Inside the freezer was the bloody body
Harry.
of Harry. His throat had been slit open and he'd been crammed right alongside the ice
they
cream
got Harry.
he'd been selling. I realized with horror that the metallic taste I got from that strawberry popsicle the other day was Harry's blood trickling from his still fresh corpse onto the packaged ice cream being sold. The news went on to explain that the young man, Harry's murderer, was none other than Harry's own son. He owed money to someone very violent and was planning to sell his own father's organs on the dark web to pay for it. He was even willing to kidnap kids to sell to pedophiles at those dark recesses of the internet. And if not for my common sense, I could have very well been one of them. The whole town mourned the loss of their friend while his traitorous son rotted in prison. Hopefully, he'll stay there for the rest of his miserable life for what he did.
Oh, that one looks good. No, go back. Go back. That one looks really cool.
So I was literally raised in a barn. My parents were farmers in the countryside, and I grew up helping them with chores for as long as I could remember. Milking the cows, gathering eggs from the chicken coop, carrying hay bales,
play some games
that
Thursday.
sort of thing. We country folk valued the virtue of hard work like that. My parents were the old-fashioned sort, especially my father. He was the kind of man who couldn't tell the difference between corporal punishment and straight-up child abuse over honest mistakes. I wasn't a particularly naughty child, but I was a bit clumsy. One time, I accidentally spilled a bucket of milk during chores, and my father whipped me with a leather belt so hard that I passed out, while my mother only watched sadly from the corner. Eventually, I got tired of the country life with my uncaring family and moved out of the farm to find a new life for myself in the big city. My parents didn't approve, of course, but it wasn't like they could stop me. As soon as I was 18, I drove out of the farm in my cheapest second-hand car and didn't look back. All I left behind for my parents was a note telling them that I was going to make a new life for myself far away from them. Yeah, I didn't exactly have the best relationship with them. I wouldn't return to the farm again until 15 years later, when I got a knock at the door of my cramped studio apartment. I opened the door thinking that it was odd, since I didn't get
that knock sounded like it was right behind me.
Many visitors due to always being too busy with my work at a soul-sucking corporate job to make any friends. A middle-aged man in an ill-fitting gray suit stood at my door holding a brown leather briefcase in one hand. My first thought was that he was a door-to-door salesman, trying to sell me something, and immediately felt annoyed. I was still mentally recovering from a whole week of mind-numbing work, and this was supposed to be my day off when I could do whatever I wanted without my manager breathing down my neck. Look, buddy, whatever you're selling, I'm not interested, I said in an irritable tone. I tried to close the door right afterwards, but felt the door jam when the man placed a boot-clad foot between the door and door frame. I'm not a salesman, kid, the man said, his voice calm but clearly exhausted. I'm a private investigator. I need to talk to you about something.
Awesome.
Curious, I eased the door back open, but kept my hand on the handle. Why would anyone hire a private investigator to find me? The man's expression turned grim. It's about your parents, he said in a somber voice. What he said next made me feel like my soul left my body. He explained that my father had died over 3 years ago. My mother, apparently driven mad from grief, was recently admitted to a mental hospital against her will, for her and everyone else's safety. With my father dead and my mother deemed mentally unwell, My mother's lawyer hired a private investigator to find me so that the ownership of the farm could be
I
transferred
think I've
to
seen
me.
this one. This one seems familiar.
The next couple of days went by in a blur. After confirming who I was, the private investigator brought my mother's lawyer to me so that I could sign the documents transferring ownership of the old farm to me. I signed wherever he told me to sign, and the two offered me shallow condolences before disappearing from my life forever. It took me another week to gather the courage to go back to that old farm. At the end of it, I called my boss to let him know that I'd be gone for a week. I got into the same busted-up car I'd left the farm in to go back to it for the first time in over a decade. To say that that place was in bad shape when I got there would be an understatement. Despite all the bad memories I had of that place thanks to my father, it was still my childhood home. It pained me to see it in such a sorry state. Weeds grew over the
I
crop
don't know
fields
how
that had
to,
once been so carefully tended to. The few remaining pigs of
I
the
don't know how
farm
to
were so
mute the,
scrawny and malnourished. It was a
Discord
miracle they were
shit.
still alive. Their feed bins were completely empty and collecting dust.
Alright,
It didn't
pause.
look like anyone's touched them in a long time.
Pause.
I wondered
Oh,
for a
see.
moment how they were able to survive without
Click the wrong
anyone
thing.
feeding them.
Pause. Hold up. Let's find out how to mute. How do you mute everything? Guys, you know how to mute alerts on Discord? I don't want to hear them. I don't know how. See, they keep on coming up. Hey, do you know how to mute, what you call it, the alerts on, Discord?
Alerts on Discord?
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Let me see. Let's see if I can.
I had it set on the other computer, but I thought I did it a while ago, but they're still coming through. It's kind of getting on my nerves.
Mute the servers and stuff like that.
Yeah, how you do that?
Is it that you should be able to right click on whatever server it's coming from, and it'll say mute server, and it'll come
Mute?
up to like until I
Okay. Give me 1 sec. I want to mute
until I
these.
turn back on.
Okay.
Alright, you good?
Okay, that one didn't do. Oh yeah, it did. Yeah, just give me 1 sec. You still there? Oh,
Yeah, I'm
you.
still here.
That's right. You joined the what you call it. Trying to think of what servers are.
Oh me.
How's everything, bro?
Not bad. Tired. Todd and might be going to a new location.
Cool. Out of state?
No, same. Still in North Carolina. It's towards Boone.
Oh, okay. Boone ain't super far.
No, I like Boone.
Yeah, so let me mute this and we'll get right back to the YouTube video.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, she got was gonna say, my kid's mother got offered a general manager position at a hotel, and for like
Nice.
$22 an hour,
That's cool.
and they offered in-house living there.
That's cool.
Like I think it's like a 3-bedroom for like $20 a day.
That's cool.
I was like, that's actually cheaper than actually paying for not a hotel, but for like apartment, because all the utilities, stuff like that, internet and all that stuff's free.
That's cool. They got paid for the internet.
I ain't got to pay for no internet, nothing like that. And I think they got I think it's Spectrum or something like that up there.
Gotcha.
So and they got the 1 gig download and upload.
Gotcha. How often does she have to work? Like, does she get like weekends off or stuff like that? Let's see if that works. Either way, I was watching Scary Stories before I went over to the ghost videos. Do you want to finish the scary stories or?
Yeah, that works for me.
All right. I'll rewind this one back.
So I was
I found these
literally
pretty
raised in a
fascinating,
barn.
man.
My parents were farmers in the countryside, and I grew up helping them with chores for as long as I could remember. Milking the cows, gathering eggs from the chicken coop, carrying hay bales, that sort of thing. We country folk valued the virtue of hard work like that.
We country
My
folk.
parents were the old-fashioned sort, especially
We
my
country
father. He was the kind of man who couldn't tell the difference between corporal punishment and straight-up child abuse over honest mistakes.
Jesus Christ, man.
I wasn't a particularly naughty child, but I was a bit clumsy. One time, I accidentally spilled a
Yeah,
bucket
you
of
gotta switch
milk
it to the
during
screen.
chores, and my father
Say
whipped
what?
me with a leather belt so hard
So
that I
yeah,
passed
switch it to the
out.
screen if it's gonna be
Oh, it didn't switch.
No, all I hear is Discord. All I see is Discord.
Oh, okay, that's weird. I'll screen shared it. Hang on. Try it again. Yeah, YouTube. Sorry about that.
Oh, you good?
All of them. That's my bad. Yeah. Story sounds pretty fucked up already.
So I was literally raised in a barn. My parents were farmers in the countryside, and I grew up helping them with chores for as long as I could remember. Milking the cows, gathering eggs from the chicken coop,
You can see it
carrying
now,
hay
right?
bales, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I can see
We
it.
country folk valued the virtue of hard work like that. My parents were the old-fashioned sort, especially my father. He was the kind of man who couldn't tell the difference between corporal punishment and straight-up child abuse over
Sounds
honest
like a Bigfoot
mistakes.
story.
I wasn't a particularly naughty child, but I was a bit clumsy. One time, I accidentally spilled a bucket of milk during chores, and my father whipped me with a leather belt so
Jesus
hard that I
Christ.
passed out, while my mother only watched sadly from the corner.
That's right.
Eventually, I got
He's right,
tired
he
of the
didn't know the
country
difference between
life
child
with my
abuse.
uncaring family, and moved out of the farm to find a new life for myself in the big city.
Jesus
My
Christ,
parents didn't approve, of course, but it wasn't like they could stop me. As soon as I was 18, I drove out of the farm in my cheapest second-hand car and didn't look back. All I left behind for my parents was a note telling them that I was going to make a new life for myself far away from them. Yeah, I didn't exactly have the best relationship with them.
man.
I
But
wouldn't
not.
return to the farm again until 15 years later, when I got a knock at the door of my cramped studio apartment. I opened the door thinking that it was odd, since I didn't get many visitors due to always being too busy with my work at a soul-sucking corporate job to make any friends. A middle-aged man in an ill-fitting gray suit stood at my door holding a brown leather briefcase in one hand. My
Start
first
telling you about
thought was
Jehovah.
that he was a door-to-door salesman, trying to sell me something,
Yep.
and immediately felt annoyed. I was still mentally recovering from a whole week of mind-numbing work, and this was supposed to be my day off when I could do whatever I wanted without my manager breathing down my neck. Look, buddy, whatever you're selling, I'm not interested, I said in an irritable tone. I tried to close the door right afterwards, but felt the door jam when the man placed a boot-clad foot between the door and door frame. "I'm not a salesman, kid," the man said, his voice calm but clearly exhausted. "I'm a private investigator. I need to talk to you about something." Curious, I
John
eased the
Wick.
door back open, but kept my hand on the handle. Why would anyone hire a private investigator to find me? The man's expression turned grim. "It's about your parents," he said in a somber voice. What he said next made me feel like my soul left my body. He explained that my father had died over 3 years ago. My mother, apparently driven mad from grief, was recently admitted to a mental hospital against her will, for her and everyone else's safety. With my father dead and my mother deemed mentally unwell, my mother's lawyer hired a private investigator to find me.
Kind of feels
so
like
that
they got
the
what they
ownership of the
deserve, don't you
farm
think?
could be transferred to me. The next couple of days went by in a blur. After confirming who I was, the private investigator brought my mother's lawyer to me so that I could sign the documents transferring ownership of the old farm to me. I signed wherever he told me to sign, and the two offered me shallow condolences before disappearing from my life forever. It took me another week to gather the courage to go back to that old farm. At the end of it, I called my boss to let him know that I'd be gone for a week. I got into the same busted-up car I'd left the farm in to go back to it, for the first time in over a decade. To say that
God,
that
look
place
at them
was in bad
pigs.
shape when I got there would be an understatement. Despite all the bad memories I had of that place thanks to my father, it was still my childhood home. It pained me to see it in such a sorry state. Weeds grew over the crop fields that had once been so carefully tended to. The few remaining pigs on the farm were so scrawny and malnourished, it was a miracle they were still alive. Their feed bins were completely empty and collecting dust. It didn't look like anyone's touched them in a long time. I wondered for a moment how they were able to survive without anyone feeding them. Then, I noticed a small group of younger pigs gathered in a corner, loudly eating something buried under all their hungry snouts. I strained my eyes to see
What,
what
you
it
think they're eating a
was,
dead body?
and felt sick to my stomach when I recognized it.
What it looks like.
They were gathered around the corpse of an old pig, and were eagerly
Oh, it's an
tearing
old
away
pig.
at its flesh and bone to eat. Without anyone to feed them, the pigs had resorted to cannibalizing each other to survive. I immediately left the barn in disgust to check on the cows instead. They were still grazing the field as usual, but there was one dead cow that had been left to rot, with flies swarming all around them. I couldn't even tell if it had died from old age or was killed by a predator with how
Couldn't tell me,
desiccated its body had
PETA
become.
wouldn't showed up already.
After taking a moment to process just how messed up the
Right.
farm had become, I went to the farmhouse to clear my head, only to find it just as neglected as the rest of the property. Everything was covered in a layer of dust, and cobwebs adorned every dark corner. There was even a tower of dirty dishes in the sink, left to stagnate in fetid gray water. According to the lawyer, my mother had been living on the farm up until her admission to the mental hospital just about a month ago. Yet, it looked like the place had been abandoned for years. I could only assume that she started neglecting it after my father's death. My parents' bedroom was a mess, with clothes strewn about on the floor or haphazardly stuffed into the drawers with no rhyme or reason. Oddly
looks
enough,
pretty fucked
the only
up.
place in the entire property that had been well kept was my old bedroom. The place was spotless, save for a few dusty corners. Everything was just as I'd left
There's
it.
that Amy
From
Winehouse
the
on
metal
the
music
wall.
poster
You
I
see
hung
that,
on the
right?
walls as an edgy teenager, to the bookshelf filled with heavy adventure books that I
Got the
couldn't
guy from
bring with
Stranger
me.
Things as well.
Even the
Not
goodbye
sure about
letter I
that.
left on
I
my
look like
desk
Elvis
before
on the other
leaving
wall.
the farm was still there. Though,
Maybe,
I could see
I'm not
several
sure.
dried up liquid stains that weren't on it before. I tried hard to convince myself that they weren't my mother's tear stains. Sitting on my perfectly made childhood bed, I realized with a heavy heart that out of all the things in the farm that needed tending to, my mother only ever took care of my room. Deep down, my mother must have really cared for me, even if she was never able to stop my father from beating me as a child.
Damn.
I decided then and there that I would fix the farm up, so that it would be in better shape for her to return whenever the doctors deemed her fit for release. I spent the next day cleaning the farmhouse and feeding the pigs in the barn, their first proper feeding for the first time in years. I even cleaned up the cow carcass in the field by
Ain't
burning
no way I'll
it
be
on a
burning
large
stuff.
pyre.
Oh, that dry
Usually
grass.
a dead cow would be composted, but I couldn't tell whether it had died from a disease or not.
Tell the
I
person that
didn't
drew
wanna
this
risk
never
creating
been to a
tainted
countryside
compost.
before.
I sat on a folding chair and watched as the raging fire consumed the carcass with a fire extinguisher
So let's
on my
put a
side
double barrel
and a
shotgun right
hunting
here.
rifle slung over my back. If the cow had been killed by a wild predator, I wanted to be ready to defend the farm if it returned to kill another cow.
You burn it, it
I
ain't
must have
gonna help.
watched the fire for about an
Nah.
hour before I caught sight of something in the corner of
It's
my
gonna
eye.
release that smell.
The sun had gone down by then, and I was only able to see by the light of the burning pyre.
What? More
Through the
predators are
flickering
coming.
light of
What?
the fire, I could only tell that
Right.
whatever it was
I don't understand why.
approaching me from a distance, enshrouded by the darkness of night. I couldn't make out what it was, but the hazy, shaggy outline
That's fucking
made me think
creepy.
that it was some sort of animal.
That's not an
Thinking
animal,
it was a
bro.
wolf, I brought up my hunting rifle and shot at the thing.
Better hope he's in
I
a
didn't
stay in your
expect
ground
to actually
state.
hit it in the darkness. I just wanted to scare it off with the sound of gunfire. But right after I pulled the trigger, I heard the sound of whatever it was yelp in pain, right before collapsing to the ground.
He
But the
shot him a
sound it
bird
made
shot.
wasn't
It
that
spread
of an
out.
animal. My eyes widened in horror
You said
when I
rifle.
recognized it as a human cry. But when I reached it, the horrible truth became clear to me.
He shot his fucking.
Lying on the ground with a bullet in her chest was the corpse of an old woman. Her hair was overgrown.
You
and
better hope he's
shaggy,
in a stay in your ground
so much
state.
so that I'd mistaken it for the fur of an animal in the dark. The only thing she wore were a light green tunic and matching baggy trousers, the kind you probably see a patient wear at a hospital. After a whole minute of gawking, horrified by what I'd accidentally done, I snapped back to my senses and tried to think of what to do. I should have called the police.
Burn it.
It was a genuine accident.
Burning
after all,
everything else.
And the person was technically trespassing on my property. But in my panic and cowardice, the only thing I
Feed
could
it to
think
the
of at
pigs.
that moment was
Yeah.
finding a way to get rid of
You
the
just
body.
gotta get rid of the bones.
I picked up the woman's body and tossed it into
Exactly.
the pyre alongside the cow carcass. For what felt like forever, I watched as both of their bodies were consumed by the flames
God, he's
with
gonna
sweaty
watch
hands. Though
bodies
my body
burn.
felt frozen in fear.
That smell of
In the
burning
end,
flesh,
all
man.
that
That's gonna haunt
left
him
were
forever.
brittle bones that I easily crushed into dust. I slept fitfully that night, scared that someone would come
Did you?
looking for whoever that woman was the next day. My fears came true when I heard a knock on the door the next day as I was eating breakfast. I saw the police car parked outside through the window and thought that things couldn't possibly get any worse. I was wrong. I answered the door and was met with a young police officer. "Good morning, officer," I said, in the most normal voice I could muster. "Is something wrong?"
Hello, officer.
"It's about your mother," the officer said.
Oh god, he
about
just
her?"
shot his fucking
I said
mom.
in surprise. "She escaped the mental hospital last night. One of the nurses told her that you'd returned to
Oh,
the family
God.
farm, and we were wondering if she broke out to visit you here or not." He opened a picture on his phone gallery and showed it to me. "I've been told that you haven't seen her
It
in
is.
a while, so you might not recognize her. But this is what she should look like now. Have you seen her?" I looked at the picture and felt my heart nearly stop. Sitting on a hospital bed in the picture.
Well, officer, I sure
was
didn't
the
burn her
same
corpse,
woman
so that's what
I'd
you're
shot
thinking.
The previous night. That woman I'd accidentally killed and intentionally burned in a pyre alongside a common farm animal was none other than my very own mother.
No, all I
Fighting
shot
back
last
the
night was a
urge to
bobcat.
vomit, I told the officer that I hadn't seen her. I couldn't hide all the
bet
horror
you
in my
did.
voice, though.
I told the officer I
Thinking
didn't
that I
see
was
her,
merely
so I
worried
wrote a
about my
story and
mother's
sent it into a
safety.
YouTuber.
He assured me that they'd find her soon. There weren't a lot of places to hide in the
I
countryside
made
after
this
all.
story anonymous.
I thanked him, though I knew nobody would ever find her.
Oh, fluffinuts23 at gmail.com can't be traced back to me.
Though I've tried to return to my normal life, my mind...
He submitted it at the library. How much you wanna bet?
With nightmares of my mother
Probably.
crying, still bleeding from the bullet hole I put in her chest. That was over a decade ago. I'm gonna return to the farm one last time. I can no longer live with this guilt, so I've decided that I won't live at all.
What the fuck,
I'm
man?
bringing my hunting rifle there too. But this time, The only one who will be shot by me is me.
It's me.
Wow.
It's
So
me that wrote this story.
wow. What the fuck, man?
Hey guys, I see many of you commenting on my videos that this... I used to love going to amusement
wild
parks as a
story.
kid. My favorite
These
one was
stories
called
are
Wonderwood
fucking
Park.
funny to
It
me,
had
man.
an Alice in Wonderland theme that was just different enough from the House of Mouse's version to not get sued.
Maybe.
Since it
Yeah,
was
that was
close
kinda
to where
weird.
I
That's kinda
lived,
weird.
every summer I'd go
The
there
only
with my
person who's gonna get
parents as an
shot
annual
this
tradition.
time by me
Those days
is
gave
me.
me some of the happiest
Like,
memories of my life.
okay?
They couldn't last though. My father got a job far away from our old town, and we all had to move with him. It became impractical to travel to Wonderwood Park every year, so we eventually just stopped going. I was just about to graduate high school when my mother told me that she heard the
Fancy
park
looking
closed
high school,
down
don't you think?
due to unknown reasons. I remember feeling sad when I heard the news, but I was too busy with things like finals and college applications to be too down about it. It was only after I'd graduated college and moved out of my parents' house that I decided to return to my old hometown once more to revisit Wonderwood Park. I pulled over to the nearest
God, I think in
hotel
my
and rented a
hometown treated
room
me
there
like shit,
before
like that one
proceeding to
guy. I
where
don't think I ever
Wonderwood
went
Park
back. I
once
think I was just sold
on
the
foot,
property.
wearing a medical mask to cover my face. I doubted anyone actually cared whether people went to those ruins or not, but I was still technically trespassing. It was better if nobody saw me there, and for them to not see my face if they did. Late that afternoon, I hopped over the fence, past the locked gates, and into Wonderwood Park for the first time since I was 12.
Is it
As
abandoned?
expected, a lot has changed since my last time there, but I was still able to recognize it as the place that made my childhood.
That's
The
abandoned.
rides I had once waited in humongous lines to get on lay rusty and dilapidated from years of neglect. The food stands had completely collapsed,
that word in a while.
ravaged by the elements and
Did you
scavenging
see
animals that
Six
ate whatever
Flags
was
in
left
New
behind.
Orleans? Or yeah, I
Even
think
the
it's New
towering
Orleans.
Ferris wheel
You see how
that
that
had once
looks?
been the highlight of my every trip
No, I
stood
haven't seen it.
After it got hit by that
deteriorated, with
flood?
the wheel looking like it could
It's
fall
all
off the
abandoned and
rickety
all that?
hinges at any moment. It was a shame
No, I
to
ain't
see
never
the
seen it.
source of so many fond memories in such a state, but I couldn't help but feel just a little happy that I was able to return to see it
Oh yeah,
one
did you
last
look up any
time.
ghost
I
videos
took out
that
my
we can
phone
look at?
to take some pictures as a keepsake. I walked around the theme park taking
I forgot.
pictures of all the attractions I
good.
used to love as a kid. The slingshot
I
ride that
forgot.
was made to look like
It's
a
all
heart-shaped
good.
guillotine. The water ride based on the time that Alice cried enough tears to cause a flood. And even a winding hedge maze decorated with
Is that
now
Buddha?
long-dead roses that was supposed to resemble the Queen
No,
of
that's-
Hearts garden.
The Queen of Hearts.
I got a little lost in the last one. I must have passed the same crumbling statue of the Queen of Hearts at least 3 times.
No, she's in the Ultimate
Even
Universe.
when covered in bird shit, she still manages to look like a pompous prick. By the time I managed to find my way out of the maze, night was already beginning to fall. I got ready to
Why would
leave
her
the
mouth
place
open
before
like
it
that?
got too dangerous to walk outside
I don't
alone.
know. Well, it was
But
white
as soon
stuff
as I
all
took
over
a
it.
step beyond the maze entrance,
Makes you wonder, huh?
I heard something that stopped me
Yep.
in my tracks. Psst, hissed a soft voice somewhere behind me. It sounded like the voice of a child. Startled, I spun around to see what it was. Standing with her face half hidden behind a hedge wall was a pale little blonde girl in a tattered
That's not
looking
blonde, but
dress.
okay.
She stared at me with a pleading eye, but didn't utter a word
Someone need to-
as I stood
someone need to
there
learn their,
dumbfounded
hair
by her
colors.
presence. Hey, I said, once I got over the initial surprise. What are you doing here? The little girl didn't reply. She just continued to
Oh, she
stare at
replied.
me
She
with
said,
that
"Where's my
glassy
whale?"
blue eye that seemed to
Where's
see
my
through
TV I can
soul.
come out of?
I was a little creeped out.
You
to
got
be
7
honest,
days to
but
live.
I wasn't about to abandon her there in the ruins. Hey, sweetie,
Yeah, you
are
didn't
you
need to
lost?
see the video. I got you.
asked. Do you know where your parents
Do you have a
are?"
VCR
She
player?
didn't reply. She just turned away
I have
and
not
ran
formatted
off
the DVD
behind the
yet.
hedge wall. Wait! I called out after her. It took me a long time to figure out the hedge maze myself.
It makes sense why those
I didn't want
videos.
her
It
to
makes
get
sense
lost
why
in it as
there was
well,
never a third one,
so I
right?
ran after her. I turned the corner
Yeah.
just in time to see the blue hem of her dress disappear behind the left hedge wall corner.
Technology took
I
over.
ran after
Yeah.
her, my footsteps echoing throughout
Had to
the
give you a,
otherwise silent ruins
Was it
like banging
what do they call that?
drums.
The
Each
gig
time
stick.
I turned a corner to find her, I'd only catch
Exactly.
a glimpse of her trailing dress, telling me which direction she went in the maze. It was almost as if she was doing it on purpose. Finally, I followed her to the wide open center of the maze, where there were no corners for her to hide behind. She stood stock still in front of the Queen of Hearts statue, with her back to me. It was the same Queen of Hearts statue I'd accidentally passed several times
Some
trying
Alice
to
in
get out.
Wonderland shit, huh?
You're not gonna run
That's what I
away
was
again,
thinking.
are you? I said between heavy pants, though the little girl didn't seem tired at all. Please just stay there. I'll call the police. They'll make sure you're safe, okay? I promise.
Well, I was
The little
trespassing.
girl shook her head, her face still turned away from me. It's too late for that, said the little girl, in the most sorrowful voice I'd ever heard.
It's too late for that.
Before I could ask what she meant, the girl turned around to look
Jesus
at me.
Christ.
For the first time, I was able to fully see her face. It made me immediately wish I hadn't. The left half of her face had been completely torn open. I could see her cracked white skull peering through the bloody gash in her flesh, and her eye was hung from its socket, dangling over her ghostly pale cheeks like a macabre
Them kids
pendulum.
Walt Disney used to
I
kill.
would have screamed had the shock of it all not caused my body to freeze in fear. Without another word, the little girl turned her back to me again and sunk into the dirt in front of the Queen of Hearts statue. It was then that I noticed that the dirt looked like it'd been disturbed. There was
Oh,
a small
God.
mound of dirt no bigger than
She
a
been
basketball,
buried alive.
hidden by the overgrown grass that surrounded it. I managed to compose myself enough to approach it and examine it closer. Sticking out of the dirt was what looked like a human finger bone, small enough to
I
belong
hope
to
she
a
called
child.
911.
I immediately
Okay.
called the police. Naturally, they asked me what I was doing in the ruined amusement park in the first place, and detained me for a few days while they
Better not last
investigated
guy.
the girl's
just
body
burned him.
buried under the Queen
know,
of Hearts
right?
statue. Thankfully, I was able to get off on minor trespassing charges after it became clear she'd been rotting there for at least 5 years. I don't know if the police will ever find out who put her there. I don't think even she knew herself. I just hope her spirit can finally find peace now, after being trapped in that park for so long.
Wow. That one actually sucked, though.
I traveled to find myself after college. It's a tale as old as time. College student graduates with a degree that he has no idea what to actually do with it, and wanders the country by
that
himself
the
in an
truth?
old car he bought on eBay, hoping that he'll find some profound meaning to life
Ain't that the
at a
truth?
pit stop
I feel him
somewhere.
on that one.
For one entire year after graduating, I went on a cross-country road trip going nowhere in particular. I often stopped by small towns and took part in whatever obscure local traditions it had. Pie baking contests, annual dance festivals, weird delicacies anyone else in America would consider disgusting, that sort of thing. Though they were all from the same country, it was
Of course, he's
interesting
eating
to
a
see how
fucking
different
rat. You
they
see that,
all
right?
were from one another. I enjoyed
Yep.
my time stopping by them, even if I had to do odd jobs every now and then when my savings wouldn't cut it. One day, on my self-realizing road trip, I came across a town that would change my life forever. It started out with a rusty old sign behind the road in the middle of nowhere. I would have missed it had I not been driving slower
Did it
than
say
usual
road
to take in the
100
sight of
miles
the vast
or 100
expanses of
meters?
wild grass to the either side of me. I parked right beside the sign and had to squint to read what it said through the brown rust that had gathered on it. It read, Rory, 100 miles, accompanied by an arrow curving left. I assumed that Rory must be a small town, and I started to look forward to learning some new local customs. I continued to drive down the
Maybe it'll
long
be an
road,
alternate universe
keeping
story.
an eye out for a left turn. Eventually,
Might.
I came across a small dirt path branching off the main concrete road
Okay.
into a dense forest.
I think I heard this one before.
Vegetation had grown over the path, but I could tell that just below the foliage was a smooth paved surface that might have once been used by people. I probably would have missed it entirely had I not been looking for it. The town must have been happy in its isolation to
You know, it's
leave
crazy.
the path, and it's
I'm trying to
so
figure
hard
out how
to
these
find.
people
I turned the car onto
get
the
these like
overgrown
ultimate
path and
universe
into the
stories like
forest.
this.
Shadows casted
Yeah,
by
like
the
it took a
tall
wrong
trees
turn and all
above
that. I take a
engulfed
wrong
my
turn. I end up in the
vehicle.
bad part of
Only
the
faint
ghetto.
spots of sunlight from the thicket lit my path up enough for me to not
That's
accidentally
nowadays.
drive into
exactly
a
where you
tree.
turn up.
After about an hour or so
Yeah,
of
this is
driving
it.
over crunchy leaves, I finally reached the end of the path.
This is actually a pretty
In
cool
front
story.
of me was a small town with short, boxy buildings flanking either side of its roads. On the surface, it looked like all the other towns I'd visited since starting my trip, and yet, something about it felt off as I drove through it. I quickly realized what it was. The place was way too quiet. Usually, when I rolled into
The
a new
buildings
small
are far
town,
apart.
I'd
You
at
didn't
least
notice
get a
that?
look or two from a local wondering what the banged-up car was doing in their town. But here, there wasn't even anybody outside doing anything, and I couldn't see anyone in the buildings through the windows either. At that moment, I knew I'd either stumbled into a town full of introverts or an abandoned one.
Jeez.
I held out hope that it might just be a quiet day for the town, and drove to a building with a hotel sign in front of it. My car was the only one in the eerily empty parking lot. I pushed open the door to the little hotel. Like the rest of the town, there was no one to be found. The receptionist desk sat empty, and nobody came when I rang the bell on it. I knew at that point that the town must have been abandoned by its residents, though for what reason I still couldn't tell. After only a moment's hesitation, I swiped a key from the key rack
That's the
behind
first thing you want to do is
receptionist's
grab a
desk
key.
and went to the room it was for. While I didn't relish the thought of squatting in an unoccupied building, I was itching for a comfortable bed to lie on after spending the past few nights
No,
in
he'll
my
be itching,
car.
especially
The door to
bad
the
as that look
hotel room
abandoned.
creaked open with a loud squeak. I looked inside hoping to find a bed to
God.
rest on for the night.
Someone
Although
shit
the
all over
room
it.
seemed well kept enough, I knew I wasn't going to be sleeping on the bed anytime soon when I saw it. Some sort of red mold was staining the white sheets of the bed, and the smell was unbearable too, like roadkill that had been left to rot. I gagged and closed the door before going back to the front desk to get a key for a different room to sleep in. But when I did, I was met with the same exact problem in the new room. The same pungent red mold
He,
that
ran into
covered
Silent
the
Hill.
sheets of the first room was on the cushioned
That's what I
chair
was
of the
thinking.
new room I picked. The smell was also just as terrible, and once again, I went back to the front desk to get the key for a different room. I found the same red mold in every single room I entered in the hotel. Sometimes on the chairs and sofas, most of the time on the beds. I was about to give up after checking the 10th room when something on the moldy bed caught my eye. Something that glinted in the golden sunlight that shone past the closed
Uh-oh.
curtains. Holding my breath,
That new
I
dummy
approached
system in the
bed to
game
see
stuff.
what it was.
See what you can interact
My
with.
eyes widened when I saw a gold diamond ring on top of the red mold. My body
I can
moved
pawn
before
that
I
shit.
could think twice. I tried to pick up the ring, no longer caring whether I touched the mold or not. The moment my fingertip touched the red mold, I felt a burning pain
Uh-oh.
shoot through it and into my arm. I let go of the ring and took a step back. I suddenly didn't want the ring or to stay in the town anymore. I ran out of the hotel and back into my car. I grabbed the first aid kit I kept in the glove compartment and poured rubbing alcohol over where I'd touched the mold. The moment the alcohol touched my skin, a searing pain erupted in my fingertip. Upon closer inspection, I could see that my fingertip had developed a bloody blister that bulged out of my skin like a bulbous water balloon. I gently poked at it with my other hand, and the blister instantly burst at the slight pressure. The blood from the blister splattered all over my hands. I felt a burning sensation whenever the blood touched my skin. I scrambled to wipe them off with
You
a
know what?
towel, but
I don't really believe
realized
that
with
this is
horror
like a,
that they wouldn't come off.
Ultimate
The
reality
blood
thing.
had permanently seeped into my
It's a
skin,
quarantine zone.
turning into reddish sores that
radiation
looked eerily
everywhere.
similar to the red mold I encountered in the hotel. It's been a week since then. I'm still in the town and the sores have spread. Every day I can feel the sores that now cover my arms, eating away at my flesh. My arms are little more than skin and bones now. I'm sure that it'll soon eat at my bones in time as well. I felt a burning sensation whenever the
Why don't you
blood
go to a
touched my
hospital?
skin. I scrambled to wipe them off with a towel, but realized with horror that they wouldn't come off. As I returned to the road in search for help, I pray that I have not accidentally doomed the rest of the world
Uh-oh.
to the same
COVID.
fate as that abandoned town.
COVID. Oh,
This is like what it is.
COVID, man,
You
COVID.
get it. You got the new strand.
You're fuck burying.
Yep.
Yeah, you ever watch? I think I asked you yesterday. You ever watch Nuke's Top 5?
Think so.
You said you don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Alright.
Late one evening in Philadelphia,
Tell me what you think about his
Pennsylvania,
videos.
Heather Paul is outside on her front porch having some ice cream with her husband and her 2 sons. But then, Heather suddenly spots something that absolutely
single?
creeps her out.
Right.
Mine, she looked better with the lights dimmed. Never mind.
There's like little mosquitoes. What is going on? What?
She looked straight at the woman, dude.
What did you say, Mommy?
I just see her eyes.
Yeah.
I couldn't
The
hear
eyes
you.
were glowing.
Yeah, did you see? You could see for her a little bit? Did you see that?
You gotta keep that open so it doesn't get all musty.
Can't tell me it's not good.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Can't tell me that's not a ghost.
Heather whispers, "She scares me," to her husband and children, but they have no idea what she's talking about.
Oh, wow.
Neither her husband or sons can see the bizarre figure dressed in white that is walking down the sidewalk only about 20 feet away.
She's going to that farm where that
Heather
guy's gonna
says that
shoot
the
her. What do you
woman looked
think?
Like, quote, a lady dressed like a nurse from the 1950s with an eerie grin on her face. Heather is now freaked out. She can't understand why no one else saw the strange nurse. So she checks the footage from their front door security camera.
Yeah, she looks good
and
there.
Sure enough,
She
the
didn't look good
recording
with the light
also
on,
shows
though.
a creepy pale figure walking right by.
It just immediately creeped me out, so I just kind of like jumped.
But it gets even weirder.
Oh,
Because
no.
you
does
see,
wonders for her.
Heather lives only a mile away from
See.
a notorious old abandoned mental asylum, the Philadelphia State Hospital at Byberry.
So a little backstory.
Of course, it'll
I
be
live about
Philadelphia,
a mile
right?
from where Byberry State Hospital used to be. This is
Yeah.
one of the, I'm pretty sure, the most notorious mental hospital in the country. A lot of abuse went on there. There was lobotomies performed on patients. There was experiments performed on patients. A lot of them lost their lives because they were just treated so horribly. The conditions that hospital was in was so inhumane.
Say
No
what?
human should have ever had to
That's
go
my
through what these
precious.
patients went through. And these people just needed help.
We're
It's
hiding in
very
that
sad.
corner.
Yeah.
They were so overcrowded. Like the nurse to patient ratio was just extreme.
With 2 student nurses and maybe 3 attendants, we have all we can do to bathe the patients, get them to cafeteria, take them to the doctors, give them their medications,
Drill
and
holes
try
in
to
their
keep
head.
the place clean.
Yeah, when I was a kid growing up, we used to definitely go
It's
in
in the
there, and it
basement.
was really scary. Like the second you walk on the grounds, you just feel like it's cold. It's not normal. It feels weird. Like you can tell somebody's watching you. There's underground tunnels.
There probably
underneath,
is
so we
somebody
used to
watching
run
you.
around them too, and they used to use those tunnels to transport bodies. And there was still those like metal slab beds that they were still down there when we went in there, like in the 2000s. I felt my arm
so
grabbed
she
in there
did
once,
she
and
say
I
she
moved
went
my
into the
flashlight 'cause I
basement?
thought it was my friend, and my friend was like over there. And
Yeah, in the tunnels.
But this story
tunnels
gets
ain't flooded?
even weirder still. Heather's dad lived in the same house as a boy. When Heather shows her
say
dad
not
the
be-
creepy footage, he tells
be
her
in
that a
PA.
woman named Linda used to live in the house next door.
I would
And
think
during the
someone had to pump the
1950s,
water out, right?
Linda was a
At the
nurse at the
basements.
old Byberry Mental Hospital.
I don't know.
So did Heather catch
I
the
don't know.
ghost of a nurse from the old abandoned hospital? And
You
if
would
not,
think.
why could no one else see the strange woman?
Yeah, she definitely
walking
need to
down
keep a
the
filter on
sidewalk?
though.
Ho ho, no.
Ho
Cara
ho.
Messina lives in an old house in New York State that was built in the 1800s.
Let's see
and
what
has
she
a
looks like
very
with that, though.
tragic past. In the
Filter.
early to mid 1800s, the house was part of the Underground Railroad, a network for fugitive slaves seeking freedom. Slaves escaping the South were forced to hide under the house to avoid capture by authorities. Because of its dark history, Cara believes that the house might be haunted, and she says that while her family has lived there, they have had, quote, some ghostly activity through the years. So one day, Cara and her daughter are just relaxing around the house, and they start to
she
hear
looks
a very
drunk as
strange
fuck.
sound coming from the basement.
So for the last 20 minutes, I've been sitting on my couch, and it's been dead silent, and all of a sudden I hear Santa. and I thought it was coming from outside, and it's not. And this is my basement.
Why was she here, Santa? Oh, okay. It's Christmas decorations. I think that's her sex toy in her hand, right? That's why it's censored out.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll beat it with a fucking dildo.
Summer.
They got a Chucky doll, man. Look at that.
Tell me it's in the same box as Chucky right now. Yeah, it's right there. What? Yeah, it's in there.
I think they might have censored out it being a weapon.
Right, but it hasn't been touched in all
I think it's a vibrator.
These months. And it's off.
Kara's daughter flips through a
Oh
box,
my God,
which
this is-
ironically contains two
this is
old
so
Chucky
bad.
dolls, only to find that a Santa figurine has
She
suddenly
pulls it out, it's like,
activated
and
itself,
it
and
is
just
off.
talking away, even though the power switch is turned off. But there's something even weirder here that
Could it
video
have
viewers
shorted out?
noticed after this clip was uploaded. Because, did you hear it?
No, I didn't hear it. Let me hear it.
Right, but it hasn't been touched, and all of a sudden, after all of these months,
I don't know.
and
See,
it's off.
did you see how it's just like cut
Just
away?
As the Santa doll is picked
They, like,
up and
cut the
suddenly
video.
stops
You see that,
talking,
right?
It can be heard seeming to frantically yell, "No, stop!"
Yeah.
See? It like cuts away. See it?
Yep.
So is Kara's basement haunted? Is the little Santa doll possessed by some wayward spirit? Or is it all just a very odd
Wait,
coincidence?
Rebecca, grab my vibrator. We'll
You
beat the
decide.
shit out of them.
Daddy Ghost. One morning, a woman named
Daddy
Cheyenne is taking
Ghost.
care of her 2-year-old daughter when the little girl says something very strange.
Okay, who is it?
Oh shit, the dad passed away.
Is it your daddy?
No, it's your daddy.
Hmm.
Is where?
Daddy's right here.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay, show me.
See?
Oh,
Your daddy's missing you.
my daddy's missing me?
That's your tail.
Let's go get him. Where'd he go?
In you.
Okay, show me.
Her daughter seems to be referring
Why
to
she got a
Cheyenne's
thermometer?
dad, which is odd because not only has her daughter never met her granddad, but even Cheyenne herself was only just a toddler when her father passed away. So Cheyenne shows her daughter a picture, and the little girl confirms that it's the man she saw in the hallway of their house.
Yes?
Yes, it looks like that.
Daddy. Daddy. Daddy.
Yeah. And Mabel, what does your ghost do?
No.
What did you say he gave you?
Hot.
A heart?
Daddy. Daddy.
Uh-huh.
Daddy.
Yeah.
2 days later, and it happens again.
Don't see me.
What sees you? The ghost? What are you talking about?
Come on.
We forgot 2 days later. Due to the current events 2 days ago, what other ghost would she be talking about? I mean,
The dryer scared me, and you already freaked me out.
Oh, my
Cheyenne says that her daughter still occasionally talks to the entity that
Do
the
you
little
think her
girl
dad
now
was,
refers to as, quote,
trying to come out the
Daddy
closet?
Ghost. But Cheyenne says
Probably.
that some online comments have scared her a bit.
She calls him Daddy Ghost. She's only had an experience like that
So-
2 or 3 times. It doesn't happen often, but when it
So,
does, I try
so
to
with this stuff happening, the
capture it
first
on
thing we're
video.
gonna do, we're
I
gonna go straight to the
also
internet.
had a lot of comments saying that it wasn't like a
Talk about clout
something
chasing,
nice.
huh?
It was something
Yeah,
mean.
it's a
That
little
freaked
much.
me out. So don't say that again. A lot of people were telling me don't communicate with it. I'm not. I'm scared. She is, and she doesn't understand. So tell him, Mabel.
So is Cheyenne's daughter seeing the ghost of her granddad stopping by for a visit? What do you think? A grave
I think someone clout
situation.
chasing.
A young woman named Britt lives on a large horse ranch in the mountains.
I don't
She says
communicate
that
with it.
lately, things around the ranch have gotten a little strange. Well, actually, they've gotten a lot strange.
Come think about it though. Didn't you see? Didn't it seem like she was like more encouraging it than anything else?
Yeah. Show me where it's at.
Yeah, show me where it's at. Is this the picture? Hey, my God! I mean, I would go get a one of them police sketch artists. I won't believe my kids. I gotta be a police sketch artist, you know, writing every detail out before I show a picture.
Yeah, I'd be trying to figure out. Can you tell figure out what his name is instead of calling him Daddy?
Yeah.
It's not your daddy. It's my daddy.
Daddy's in the closet.
Why is he there?
Yeah, I found that pretty interesting. The little girl walking by and the woman jumps like the dryer scared me. I was like,
Bet it did.
Yeah, because you don't put your. I was like, because you don't put yourself on edge, making your daughter do all this crazy stuff on TikTok. All right, let's see what's going on with this one.
It all starts one day when Britt's dog Josie just completely freaks out.
So,
definitely not mom of the year. I can definitely say that.
Just in the off chance that no one believes me, maybe I can catch it in my way of freaking cemetery in my front yard. I was just inside. I'm by myself with my dog.
Her door is wide open.
Room upstairs. You can really hear her barking from here.
She points out the obvious there. You
Josie?
can obviously hear her barking. Well, no shit. It's like the
Josie?
loudest thing in the video.
Somebody definitely enhanced the audio in this one.
Yeah. Oh, some growling. Imagine a dog's got rabies. Oh, it's an Australian Shepherd.
Yeah, she's just been staring at that, and
dog.
then she started barking,
They're annoying.
and she growled.
Oh, it's a second camera
And
now?
when she growled, I kind of like booked it. But I don't really know. Like, that's usually like her stance while she's waiting for me to come home, and I'm just like,
Yeah, they're not good with kids, though.
is she waiting for someone to walk out of that closet? Like, I just don't really know what she's staring at. Because again, like, this is usually how she looks when she's waiting for me to come in, and I'm just like,
Person in there is making a dog growl, went out the other way.
what? What is it? What is it?
The dog starts ferociously barking at the upstairs bedroom closet for absolutely no reason. But little Josie's strange behavior doesn't stop there. As Britt mentioned, she has a private cemetery in front of her house where some of her family members and also several of their deceased pets are all buried together. Recently, the dog Josie has just started staring at the small graveyard.
Dog said, I'll be there soon. I don't stop barking.
Josie, what's going on?
My owner said I need to
The
start
horses
acting
on
right.
the ranch often just stare toward the small cemetery as well.
Well, that's not creepy. Seriously, where
Horse
are
is like, you see this shit?
So like, don't they say horses got like some kind of their senses are enhanced or something like that?
But
They got
now,
better
where's
senses
the
than we do.
law?
Yeah,
Brett
animals
says
supposed
that
to have
lately the
senses
neighbors'
like
cows
that.
have started
from
to
what I
wander
heard.
over to her property, and they also just weirdly stand around the small
Maybe they're
graveyard.
paying their respects.
See, this
You
is
know,
what I'm
animals
talking
do
about.
grieve, right?
They literally
Just
just
random
coming out
cows
here all the
are
time now.
Yeah. Some wild ass random cows.
The beef cows? Yeah, it was like beef cows.
Like, why? They just kind of come and
To make sure the bulls ain't around.
graze.
Yeah,
this area.
yeah, that's one thing you don't need.
Yeah.
You can be right there with
And
them
they just kind
grays.
of will freeze and won't move. So,
Well, animals do like grieve and all that. I mean, maybe they're going
Like
to the
that
slaughter
movie,
soon. I don't know.
Yeah. It'd be like that movie where the red fern grows.
Yeah.
That's such a sad movie.
What's up?
Someone told me
Brit is
Sandlot was a
confused
sad
and
movie, but I
little
don't remember it
creeped
being
out
sad.
by all of the animals' strange behavior.
Sandlot?
But things
Yeah,
are
I don't
about to
remember
take
it being
an even
sad.
more terrifying turn. One night, Britt orders some food from Uber Eats. The driver is a bit disturbed by the gathered cows at the graveyard, but he completes his delivery. And then things just get weird.
I thank the cows for keeping me in business. Cows
Are they
like,
gonna start flying away? Are they about the aliens about to get them?
oh, that would be hilarious to see a UFO come pick it up.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that.
Yeah, this is location is outside, no here.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. No problem.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
What do you say they did to him?
Yeah,
You're a cow.
he's scared. He's like, oh.
They're actually not mine. They wasn't showing up.
No.
No. They come hang out around here every night. Yeah.
Someone's missing some cows around there.
What would you do if this happened in your house?
Yo, your camera sucks.
Supposed to suck. It's the only way you can see Bigfoot and Ghost.
That's a shapeshifter. Look at the eyes.
Thank
You
you.
got rabies.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Every
Maybe they're Satanist cows.
night, like even at night.
Maybe they're pissed at the crosses.
They just like stand. And
It's
like,
kind of weird.
Alarm in the house goes off. You know, it'd be easy to rob her ass. You know that, right? Wow. She dropped her Taco Bell, man.
The alarm inside Britt's house, and as she carefully
I'd be mad
walks
about
back
that. I'd go back in.
inside, some unseen force seems
Look,
to
grab her
actually
tit.
grab and pull her shirt. She drops her food in terror and runs back out. Britt says that she was too afraid to return to the house.
These videos
She
are
spent
so
the rest
fake,
of
man.
The night in the family RV that was parked outside.
Where's Taco Bell?
Hunter
Go back.
or hunted. Nick
The
and
dog
Taylor
ate that
believe
Taco
the
Bell,
cattle
you know that,
hunting
right?
public are out bow hunting on public lands in the
Right.
remote wilderness of Missouri.
Thank you.
Suddenly they hear something that sends chills down their spines. Now, let me say before I show you
Bigfoot.
these clips, in accordance with YouTube guidelines, no one is shown being hurt in the
We're not
following
on
video.
YouTube, so
There's
we're good.
absolutely no evidence that any crime was committed in this video or that anyone was injured in any way. Alright, so, while Nick and Ted are hunting, they hear a gunshot, followed by some insane screaming. They immediately grab their camera and start recording.
Then stumbled on someone else's property. Dude, we just hear somebody get shot.
Now, Nick and Ted are in such a remote area of the Missouri woods that they have no cell service to call the authorities. So, all they can do is listen.
They got it recorded on YouTube? What are we doing?
I guess they recorded it and posted on YouTube later.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
Probably.
What'd you do for 6 hours? Sat there.
Oh, we heard someone getting murdered. I mean, we had ways to protect ourselves, but
I keep getting chills all down my back. Yeah. Somebody's screaming at the absolute top of their lungs over there.
Yeah, the first thing you don't think of is go and like provide aid or something. They could be getting mauled by a bear, you know?
Anybody's screaming like that.
You could accidentally pour that deer urine on it and try getting back to its truck and didn't make it. I think it's just someone out shooting. This is someone out shooting, that's all that is.
Something not good's going on.
Look, I shot the milk jug, Daddy.
It sounds like a pistol.
I think it's just a bunch of rednecks shooting. That's what I think it is. That's how I sound when I shoot my guns in the woods.
And you don't have ordinary guns.
Again, Nick tries to call someone to report the incident, but they still can't find a spot in the woods with cell service.
We ain't got any service in here, so can't call the police and tell them to go over there and see what the heck's going on, but
Yeah, they're bow
sound like
hunting.
something off a dang horror movie over there.
Still, even with bow hunting, I still bring a pistol and stuff with me.
At this point, Nick and Ted are totally freaked out. They just head back to their trucks.
I don't know,
So
I
that they
don't
can
really
get out of there
understand.
and call the police.
I've heard some stuff that I feel needs to be reported to the police department. I was hunting, me and a buddy were hunting, and at about 6:45, we heard gunshots, which is not uncommon.
Oh yeah, I see the
but
dog
then
tags.
for
I see what you
30
mean now.
minutes straight or so, there was lots of screaming and just obscenities, and it sounded like something really bad was going on over there. And
Just
there
a
was
bunch of rednecks
20
in the
or more
woods. That's all it
gunshots
is.
ended up
It's a
happening.
party going
I
on.
have pins dropped on a map about how far we were from where we think this was occurring. We didn't know what to do, and we had no service, so we're trying to report and see if anything had
Tell
been
you
reported
something,
about
buddy.
there.
Days later, Nick and Ted provide an update on what happened after their terrifying encounter in the woods.
So after that hunt, you can see we alerted proper authorities, and the days following that event, I had some contact with the state game warden, and they told me that they found nothing on this situation.
I don't know.
and
I shot ARs in the woods, and I
Even
shot
though
30
Nick and
AUX
Ted
6s,
reported
and I
the
think 30 AUX
disturbing
6s is
incident
louder
and
than
even provided
anything.
GPS coordinates to local authorities, nothing was found at the site. There's absolutely
30
no
30s,
evidence
man,
that
they got a
any
kick.
kind of horrible event ever took place there.
You know, it freaked us out,
what?
and you know, we really got unsettled
I
by
like
it. We weren't scared that
Yeah, me too.
someone wasn't coming after us, but we had heard something that it could have been.
Afraid to shoot my grandpa's old one. I think that's going to explode in my hands because it's so old and shaky
I
now.
immediately go to worst case scenario.
So did Nick and Ted just hear someone having a random temper tantrum or
My
a
brother has
breakdown?
a
Was
lever
it
action.
just someone freaking out and maybe just shooting guns at a tree stump?
That's all it is. It's just someone going in the woods shooting. Someone owns the
Or
property.
Was it something much more disturbing? You decide. For the full-length version of
I
this
done
video,
decided.
be
I
sure
live
to
in the
check out
country, I
channel,
know.
The Hunting Public.
I know what it's like.
Shadow of a Doubt. Now, I've covered the strange and creepy story of a woman named Rosanna in one of my previous videos. Rosanna lives in France in an apartment that she claims is intensely haunted by some mysterious dark entity.
Oh no,
One
the
night,
light
while she is
bulb's
home
going out.
alone, she starts to hear strange sounds coming from her children's
You
playroom.
know the light bulb I had
What she
in the
catches on
bathroom?
camera
Did
is
the same
truly
way before it went
chilling.
out?
The ball's moving.
Oh, the house ain't level.
Where's the air conditioner?
The house ain't level. Yeah, it probably is the AC. Look up. We can see. We can see a vent.
Okay, well now it's, we can't say that now.
It's fishing
It just
string.
took off. Oh, and it threw it back. Yep.
Someone in the other room. Okay, that's creepy as fuck. Funny story about like toys and all that. My sister used to live in the house when I was young, and the toys would constantly play like that. They would like go down the hallways and all that. It was freaking creepy. You could hear laughing when you go upstairs. It was really odd.
Yeah, you can have that. I ain't going a part of that. I'm kicking that toy. hear a bird? It looks like a bird.
Yeah, it looks like one of them penguins. It's like a penguin or something, don't it?
Well, I meant like the noise, like the.
Oh yeah.
It sound like a pigeon. Like no, it's kind of like a pigeon noise almost.
Oh, did she see something in the window? Oh yeah, there's something behind her.
It's still there.
She got one of them dolls on her shoulder. That's why she ain't flipping the camera around. She moved it, see?
Toys in the playroom begin to move.
You can't tell
on
me
their
that's not
own,
scripted.
and
She
as
looked right
Rosanna
at the
goes
window.
to
That's the first thing
investigate,
she did.
notices something very strange. Did you
Didn't that
see
feel
it?
scripted to you? That
In the
felt
window
scripted to me.
reflection, the large shadowy figure of a man seems to be standing right behind her. But when she spins around, there's no one there.
Some bad acting.
Rosanna sees the strange shadow behind her again in the reflection, but then the figure just disappears. Rosanna claims that this dark spirit has haunted her apartment for months, but she just can't afford to move out right now. So is Rosanna being haunted by some evil entity?
You know what's crazy?
Or
Rosanna's got a
is
lot of
it all
toys
just
for
an
no
elaborate
mentioning of a
hoax?
kid.
You decide. A guide to the
You
other
notice
side.
that? Not one mentioning of a kid.
A young woman named Diana posted a very disturbing video to Instagram. In the video, Diana and her brother are watching as the police arrive at a trailer at the edge of their property. The police are showing up for a wellness check after the sad, lonely man who rents the trailer has not been seen for weeks.
Oh no.
It turns out that the man had unfortunately passed away inside the trailer. This is the footage.
Right there. Wait, they're going up to Tom's place. So wait, you said the light wasn't off?
Yeah, exactly. And I knew that something was going on.
I knew something going on.
Holy sh**, the hell? Oh my god, they're calling. Are they calling?
Was there a
someone?
kid standing there? You see that?
Going
It
back
vanished.
over.
Yeah, I see it now.
What was Tom doing?
Yeah, I see it.
There's like an app you can check or something to figure out.
Jesus.
Is there an app you can check or something? Like what? Well, what app are we looking to check?
Abby's okay.
It's that thing off that movie Trick or Treat. Friday in a smooth tail.
Did you see it?
Yes, I saw it. I
A small
pointed it out.
shadow of a child can be seen lurking outside
It's
the
not a
trailer,
shadow, buddy. That's a
seemingly
fucking
lost and abandoned
body.
But the police don't even notice, walking right by as if they can't even see the child. And then suddenly the small child shadow just disappears. Watch again.
You can take with the bright lights of the police cars.
It might just be a midget cop. Like blended in with the police car. You see that? See? It's right there. See it?
The figure disappears into thin air right in front of the police, but they don't seem to see anyone. Viewers of the video pointed out that there was another odd apparition in this
Where?
video. Something that looks like the shadowy figure of a
Nah,
man
that's that thing that
standing
hangs
in the
over to
trailer
let the what you
window.
call it.
So a few days later, Diana and her father go to check out the trailer, and things get really weird.
Oh my goodness.
Dang, that place is a mess.
Oh my god.
Was it a bird? What was that?
What was that?
There's a bird. Like a crow.
You hanging ravens up on the wall now? God, look at all the alcohol, man.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Wait, did this guy have a kid? What is this?
Yeah, this kid died too, like, I don't know, before. A long time ago.
So first, Diana is terrified when a dead crow falls out of one of the cabinets, which seems odd as the man has only been deceased and out of the trailer for a few days.
Yeah, that's kind of odd.
So how did the bird get there? But next, Diana sees a child's paintings on the refrigerator. Her dad tells her that the man had a horrible tragedy where his young daughter passed away many years ago at a very young age. But the man kept her drawings and mourned her for the rest of his life.
I think I would too.
Descending into sorrow and alcoholism. So, is this childlike shadow figure the man's daughter coming back to meet him as he passes to the other side? What do you think? Mirror, mirror. A woman who goes by the online name Pixie Paranormal 1 is a psychic medium and paranormal investigator who's had quite a few strange experiences. Some that can be supernatural.
I think I seen her on TikTok one time.
What is this noise?
And she has also experienced some scary incidents that are just a bit too real.
Yeah, turn the light off so it can get you.
Turn it off.
Makes all the sense in the world.
I don't mind hunting ghosts, but it's the humans that worry me.
I don't think those are humans.
But recently, Pixie Paranormal 1 had a very chilling experience right in her own home. She heard cracking sounds coming from her mirror, so she grabbed her phone and began to film. What happens next is truly bizarre.
Look at my mirror. My mirror is cracking by itself.
Well, that could be multiple different things.
Harry, my mirror is cracking by itself.
That could have been a small hairline crack, and it just started cracking all at once, you know? Say what?
No fucking idea.
I didn't hear you, Paula. What do you say?
I was gonna say humidity would do that.
Yeah. Even humidity, there'll be like a small one, and you won't notice it until it starts getting bigger and bigger, you know? Have mirrors that done that before.
I know. There's a naughty mirror. Wait. Why is the mirror cracking?
I don't know.
I know.
The pressure too, there's certain pressures that can do that as well.
There's a naughty 7.
The woman's mirror begins to break.
See, there's a crack all the way at the bottom. You see that, right?
Right before her eyes. Even weirder, what looks like a strange misshapen face seems to appear in the
It's like a handprint.
shattering mirror.
Someone put their face across
So
it.
did
You
one
see
of
that,
the
right?
ghosts from Pixie's Paranormal Investigations follow her home? Or just what do you think is happening here? Scary videos.
Scary
and now
videos.
again, we end this video with clips that might seem a bit spooky at first, but nah. Case in point, some Dutch urbex explorers are checking out an abandoned old building, and they find something absolutely terrifying.
They found a druggie. Oh, they found a homeless guy. We are going to check the buildings before we go ghost hunting, right? I don't want to run into a homeless guy.
Now, honestly, squatters in an abandoned house are much more dangerous than ghosts. Also,
they were in the same coat. You see that, right?
This friend has on the same jacket as the squatter guy. Truly bizarre. And next up, a woman is chilled to her core as she wakes up to strange activity.
Yeah,
Some unseen force seems to open and close the drawers in her bedroom.
Maybe they need new underwear.
Maybe the ghost just wants some clothes, or just trying to help them with their style, you know? I woke up to this. It's a cat.
But then it's just her cat stuck inside her wardrobe chest.
Uh-huh.
There's his little head peeking out. And finally, Pedro sees a very strange shadow of what seems to be a person who is just not there.
Is it moving?
Little people now.
It's a chair. Ah, it's a
And
chair.
then
Okay.
Pedro realizes that he just has weirdly designed chairs.
That was,
anyway,
that was
thank you
something.
for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. please, if you want to be awesome. And hopefully, I'll see you back here next time.
Yeah, man, I love these ghost videos. They're great. You ever heard of a YouTube channel called Mr. Mysterious?
I don't think I have.
Oh my god, I don't think he's alive anymore, but he was, how you spell mysterious? Let me find this YouTube channel right quick.
Okay. Give me a chance to run to the restroom real quick.
Alright, bro. I can't find it. I can't remember what it was called.
Talking about
And I'm back.
I couldn't find a YouTube channel. It used to be like Mr. Mysterious or something like that. It's just like an old guy that told stuff like staircases that lead nowhere. You heard about that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he would go and talk about them. I was gonna look up in my search stuff, but I found one video. Seemed kind of cool to watch. It's a national park ranger talking about it.
Oh,
Each year, a variety of strange discoveries are made, and some of the most interesting finds are made in areas rarely explored by humans. Over the years, national park rangers have come forward and told some mysterious stories, but one that's intrigued many is that of the strange staircases. Oddly enough, this isn't anything new, and for several decades now, isolated staircases have been found through national parks. The odd thing about these discoveries is that many of these staircases are found in areas that are hard to reach, leading some to question how they got there in the first place. One national park ranger shared the following story. I don't know if this is true in every search and rescue unit, but in mine it's sort of an unspoken regular thing we run into. You can try asking about it with other search and rescue officers, but even if they know what you're talking about, they probably won't say anything about it. We've been told not to talk about it by our superiors, and at this point we've all gotten so used to it that it doesn't even seem weird anymore. In just about every case where we're really far into the wilderness, I'm talking 30 or 40 miles, at some point we'll find a staircase in the middle of the woods. It's almost like if you took the stairs in your house, cut them out, and put them in the forest. I asked about it the first time I saw some, and the other officer just told me not to worry about it, and that it was normal. Everyone I asked
It's normal to
said
find
the
a
same
random
thing.
ass staircase in the middle of the
I wanted
woods,
to go check them out, but I was told, very emphatically,
it's kinda weird.
that I should never go near any of them. I just sort of ignore them now when I run into them because it happens so frequently. End quote. Another user responded by saying the following. The stairs found out in the wilderness were something that always spooked my brother. He worked for the National Forest Service for over 15 years and told stories about finding these old staircases in the middle of national parks. Interestingly, he also detailed that when he would go to his superiors about them, they would never give out any details. My brother said that it was frustrating because it was so random that these stairs were just there in the middle of these forests. He always said that he thought something strange was going on, as he never saw anyone approach them. Up until he retired from the Forest Service, he said that it was these staircases that interested him the most, saying that he wished he pushed the topic further and questioned how they ended up there. End quote. This user said the following about their experience. While visiting the Great Smoky Mountains with friends, we stumbled across some of these stairs. At the time, we didn't think much of it, and thought that perhaps the Forest Service had placed them
It would
in the
have
woods
to be
in
the
order
Smoky
to
Mountains.
observe some of the local wildlife.
Appalachian Mountains.
After approaching the
Shit,
structure,
yeah.
there were some things that didn't look normal. For example, there were stone structures in a circle formation that were scattered around the stairs, and it looked as though the stairs themselves were very old. The stairs also didn't match anything close by, and it was as if they had been lifted from somewhere and randomly placed inside the national park. We continued looking around to see if we could see anything nearby that would give an indication as to why they were here, but we found nothing. One of the strangest things about the experience was how all of us felt very down after being close to the stairs, and it led to us leaving soon afterwards. To this day, I still have no idea why they were there, and why various stone structures were scattered around them. End quote. As of right now, people aren't entirely sure why these staircases are being found in national parks. Various theories have been put forward to explain them, with one suggestion being that they are the foundations that have been left behind by lost settlements. Others argue that they have a more sinister backstory, saying that they were created for dark gatherings, or could be a site to lure people in. More out there theories suggest they could be a gateway to another dimension. As of today, many of these reports remain a mystery.
Why don't you climb one and figure it out?
Over 250,000 individuals are reported missing every year, with
They say you don't
estimates
get
of
paid
actual
enough for that
missing
shit,
persons
man.
cases that are left unreported, pushing that total to more than 300,000 cases annually. With that many reports, it's no wonder that a vast majority of these cases are left unsolved. However, Every now and then there are a series of missing cases that emerge that are so peculiar, they become the subject of impossible to explain theories. Steve Litzy vanishes. Considered to have been one of the most bizarre cases of disappearances, a 71-year-old hunter would seemingly vanish from where he was last seen, leaving behind his vehicle and some of his equipment.
You can't really blame that on the paranormal, can you?
Unable to travel very far on foot.
No.
Known as the mysterious case of Steve Litzy, on the 29th of October, back in 2011, Steve's hunting partner would report Litzy missing in the late afternoon after he was unable to find his friend after about a half hour of searching. For most of his life, Steve and his wife, Suzanne Snyder, lived in the wealthy suburbs of the small town of Paradise,
Story's
California.
not adding up.
Working as a real estate agent for the Coldwell Banker Realtors Company, Steve Litzy would afford to save up a sizable nest egg and eventually buy a second residence where the couple would spend the majority of their retirement years. According to Suzanne, the couple fell in love with the calm atmosphere of the small town of Elkton, Oregon, a more rural location found between the small towns of Eugene, Oregon, and Roseburg, and decided to move there so that they could be closer to the outdoors. Although Steve considered himself an avid outdoorsman, it was not until he moved to the small town of Elkton that he would get to experience the wilderness without restraint. It was not uncommon to find Steve deep within the nearby
there had to be
Aqua
some kind of
National
restraint there.
on a week-long hunting trip, either alone or with close friends. Over the course of several years, Steve would grow to consider himself a more than competent hunter and would schedule trips in increasingly deeper and less frequented areas of the forest for longer trips. Unfortunately, it would be during these longer trips that Steve would suddenly go missing. According to the search and rescue reports, Steve decided to visit the Twin Lakes area of the Umpqua National Forest with a friend of his who had often gone on hunting trips with him in the past. After planning to spend an entire week during late October of 2011, the two men met up together and traveled to the area with extra equipment, rifles, and enough food to last them for 2 weeks. The two men would arrive at the Twin Lakes on the 22nd of October and would spend the first few days struggling to encounter wild game of any kind. At first, the men assumed that perhaps the strong winds were causing their scent to spread in the direction of the animals, warning them of their approach, but as the week dragged on, it became apparent that something far more unusual was occurring. According to Steve's hunting partner, it almost appeared as if there were no animals in the area, and the forest was far quieter than
it does sound like a Bigfoot thing because there's no animals in the area.
Not only were there no signs of large game, but animals such as birds and squirrels appeared to have been missing as well. On the last day of their hunt, on the 29th of October, the two men grew frustrated at their lack of success and decided to try a new strategy. Steve Litzy and his hunting partner decided that the two of them together must have been making too much noise or creating too strong of a natural scent, causing the animals to flee far before they could get them within their sights. In order to solve this problem, the two men decided to separate in the early morning and agreed to hunt on their own, and then meet back at their parked vehicle later in the day. As the men started down the trailhead, they would choose to separate roughly 1/8 of a mile down the Twin Lakes Trail in a small culvert. Steve decided to stay in the culvert, while his partner continued on up ahead a few hundred feet away. After a few hours, Steve's hunting partner would return back down the trail, but would find that Steve was nowhere to be found. After returning to the vehicle and seeing no sign that Steve had returned, the partner immediately went back to where he had last seen Steve Litzy and called out to him for several minutes.
Yeah, we can watch it after this one.
Worried that something far worse had happened, given Steve's old age and inability to travel far, the hunting partner immediately contacted the local Douglas County Sheriff's Office to notify the local law enforcement that Steve was missing. Within only a couple of hours, the Sheriff's Department would contact the United States Forest Service, National Guard, and a variety of other search and rescue teams, gathering together more than 50 volunteers to begin their search for Steve Litzy.
About to click on a video so you might hear another video playing.
Been seen, the search and rescue teams expanded throughout the area, covering more than 30 square miles, a distance far greater than Steve Litzy would have been able to cover on his own. After 2 days and more than 2,000 man-hours of searching, volunteers and investigators were no closer to understanding.
I told you wrong.
It's
Mysterious.
With no sign of his equipment appearing anywhere.
I was looking up Mr.
Area.
Mysterious.
Frustrated and worried that the 71-year-old
I swear
man
that's what his name was before.
Search and rescue teams would decide to comb over areas where they had already checked with a team of 8 different bloodhounds that were brought into the area on the 31st of October. despite experienced bloodhounds having aided in the recovery of missing persons in the past, not a single one of the canines could follow the scent after picking it up in the culvert, almost as if Steve Litzy had seemingly vanished into thin air.
That's creepy,
The
don't you think?
National Guard would aid search and rescue teams by providing aircraft support in the form of helicopters, equipped with state-of-the-art thermal imaging and infrared cameras. Several search and rescue teams would also employ the use of donated all-terrain vehicles to cross over trails and nearby roads, in the hopes of finding Steve waiting alongside one of the many pathways that one could easily stumble across in the area. After 3 days of searching, local news outlets would claim that search and rescue volunteers had located pieces of trash believed to have belonged to Steve's packed food rations, though nothing could be confirmed. However, what was even more odd was that many of the trash and wrappers believed to have belonged to Steve Litzy were scattered across many different directions across dozens of miles. All hope would be lost only after a few days, when a sudden snowstorm would descend on the area where Litzy had disappeared. Although forecasts claimed that the weather would be clear for over 2 weeks, it appeared that the blizzard was far stronger than anyone had anticipated and temporarily halted search and rescue efforts for a couple days, forcing any aerial to ground and stay out of the area until the weather could clear. After the blizzard, the fresh snow would prove to be the greatest obstacle, as it blanketed any possible tracks left behind by Steve Litzy. After roughly 7 days and nights of searching for
What do you think happened? He's in the mountains.
All search and rescue efforts were terminated, and Litzy was presumed to have passed away in the wilderness. Investigators and search and rescue volunteers remained troubled after the efforts in locating Steve Litzy were completely abandoned.
He's old and he just...
It seemed incredibly difficult to understand how exactly the 71-year-old could have disappeared from the area.
Yeah.
Not only did Litzy have all of the necessary supplies for his survival, he was also dressed correctly for the weather and was armed with his rifle, which had never been recovered. Litzy had been an experienced hunter and was well aware of the rule to let off 3 rounds in the event that he was in trouble, but no sounds were ever heard from his location, or while search and rescue volunteers were trying to locate him. National parks can pose some risks and hazards, but overall they are generally safe places to visit, as long as visitors take necessary precautions and follow park rules and guidelines. National parks are home to a wide variety of wildlife, and encounters with animals such as bears, moose, or bison can be dangerous if visitors are not aware of how to safely interact with them. Weather conditions in national parks can be unpredictable, and visitors
you can't really
should be
say
prepared
that's
for extreme
staircases that lead
storms,
nowhere.
and other weather.
It's kind of odd they happen in the same area.
National
but
parks often feature rugged terrain, steep cliffs,
sound like
and other
his
natural
was just an
hazards that can
incident,
pose
you
a
know?
risk to visitors who are not familiar with the area.
Yeah, it does.
Water-related hazards, such as swift currents, cold temperatures,
I don't think
and
it has
dangerous
anything to do
underwater
with
hazards
stairs because
can pose a risk to
every time about the
visitors who are not
Smoky Mountains,
experienced in
then
water.
he turned around and he was in Oregon.
Yeah.
So it's... I don't think it has anything to do with the
So,
stairs. I think it
what
just
do you
means
make of
that it was
these
just talking
national
about the
park
same guy.
mysteries? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comments
There's
section below,
there's
and help us
one
to grow this community while working to solve
there's
these
one I have to
unexplained
look for it.
mysteries.
But
Thank
this
you for
girl, she
watching,
went
and
missing
don't
for
forget
like
to
3
subscribe
years.
for more videos.
This happened like in the 1940s or something, and she come out of the woods like 3 years later, and she like never aged. I don't know if you heard that one or not.
I don't think I ever have.
Dude, it's pretty sick stories, man. Yeah, right here, Mysterious 5.
And body cameras are acting as a deterrent to bad behavior by police when acting as public servants. After all,
Don't
many
stop
of
'em.
us behave differently when we know that we're being filmed or watched. In addition, police officers are using them to record their activities as well as to record their surroundings, which has proven to be beneficial in numerous cases. However, some of these videos can be quite
have you seen that one?
unsettling and bizarre, especially
I
when
don't
it
think
comes
so.
to mysterious
check
and
this shit out.
unexplainable events. Hi, I'm Mr. Mysterious. and
Yeah,
in this
Mr.
video,
Mysterious. He changed
I'll
his channel
tell you
name.
About 5 of the most intriguing dashcam videos.
Mysterious 5 now. I
recorded
knew it
by
was Mr.
police
Mysterious.
officers. Clowns getting arrested in Wisconsin. Many of
That was
us
more
are
popular in
going to
North
remember
Carolina,
the
though. You
summer
know
of
that, right?
2016, due to a very
Pretty
weird
weird.
phenomenon. The creepy clown phenomenon is believed to have begun in South Carolina at a lone apartment complex. Residents' children began telling their parents tales of creepy clowns lurking in the woods and trying to lure them away with promises of candy and money. At first, parents and other adults didn't think much of this problem. However, it didn't take long for parents to start seeing the creepy clowns too. In less than 1 week, the Fleetwood Manor apartment complex began sending out letters to residents, warning them to keep
I remember that stuff was
one eye on
happening
their
all
kids
around the
and
area
the
I was
other
at.
on the lookout for intimidating
I
clowns.
know. I was gonna say I know exactly
For
where it's
weeks
at.
and weeks, the creepy clown sightings spread. However, despite
That's
multiple
like
police
30 minutes.
departments
That's like
in
no, that's like
several
45 minutes
states
from me.
responding to
Gotcha.
dozens of reports of creepy clowns, no arrests were made. As a result, the severity of these sightings began to intensify. Clowns were being spotted with weapons and even chasing children. As this police dashcam footage shows, 2 strange-looking clowns were arrested in Wisconsin. This footage
course they're
shows
gonna
the
stand
2
there.
clowns acting very bizarre in front of the police.
I remember this video.
However, what's really strange about this case is the fact that it involves alleged child neglect. The police
Wow,
showed up
really?
in the neighborhood after receiving several 911 calls from residents who had seen creepy clowns lurking in the pre-dawn darkness. When officers got to the neighborhood, they found 2 men dressed up in clown costumes, as well as a woman who was apparently their getaway driver. As can be seen from the footage, the clowns froze as the police vehicle approached them. Then, both of them raised their hands at the same time.
Of course, they don't want to
The
get
police
shot.
officers also discovered that the 29-year-old male clown and the 26-year-old female getaway driver were a couple, and that they had left their 4-year-old home alone for hours. This kind of
Did
strange behavior
they have like a mental
blatant
breakdown or
neglect
something?
warranted the police officers' arrest of these 3 individuals. However, the Wisconsin Police Department didn't charge anyone with anything related to wearing creepy clown costumes.
How can you charge somebody with that?
Russian
Right here,
ghost
just
car.
check this one out, dude.
A YouTube dashcam video that shows a ghost car appearing at a busy intersection of a Russian road went viral.
I watched this when I was a
shortly
kid,
after it was
man.
posted. The nearly
A
2-minute
teenager.
video was posted several years ago, but people are still confused about it. Even though there were numerous attempts to debunk this dashcam
Yeah, they couldn't debunk it.
footage, the truth is that no one can say that this is just another hoax. The video starts with a few cars waiting at a busy intersection. Once the signal light turned green, the car we're seeing starts moving and takes a left turn.
Look at that.
Just moments after the driver
Where'd that
takes a
car
left
come
turn,
from, dude?
another car appears out of nowhere and drives away.
You see that? Look at that.
Causing a minor crash. The video, which was captured on a gloomy, gray day, has had viewers
weird.
from all over
Yeah.
the world mystified, with many attempting to explain how the car appears out of nowhere. Some believe that the ghost car is hidden by other vehicles until the very last moment. While
Yeah, but
others
why
have
don't you see it,
endeavored to
though?
debunk
That's the
footage,
question, though.
claiming that this is nothing more than clever editing. As you can imagine, there are also those who believe that we're seeing a time traveler. What do you think about this video?
I don't
Do
know.
you have an explanation that might resolve
What
this
explanation? I won't
mystery?
talk. I mean, what explanation can I come up with? A car come out of nowhere. It wasn't on the other side.
Chupacabra caught on tape? Back in 2008, a police dashcam video that was originally posted on a San Antonio news station's website made it all the way to the CNN video news site. The video of the alleged Chupacabra was captured
Oh, yeah,
in the
this
small
was
town of Cuero,
already
Texas,
proven and all that.
southwest of San Antonio. Can this be
Oh,
the
that
best
wasn't real?
evidence we have
No,
about
it's
Chupacabra's existence?
that dog.
On
It's
August
like a
8,
some rare,
2008,
some
2 police
breed of dog.
officers were checking fence lines on a dirt road when one saw a strange, coyote-sized creature running alongside the road. One of the police officers turned on his patrol car's dashboard camera in order to capture video of the creature. He noticed that the creature has short front legs and long back legs, hairless skin.
It's stuff
and a
down there in
long
Texas.
snout.
Someone shot it.
As both of the police officers later said, they had never seen anything like this in their many years of patrolling the dusty back roads of Cuero. In case you don't know, the chupacabra is a legendary creature in the folklore of parts of the Americas. Its first purported sightings were reported in Puerto Rico. Chupacabra actually means
I like how
goat
he said
sucker
Puerto Rico.
in Spanish, and its name comes from the animal's reported habit of attacking and drinking the blood of livestock, especially goats. What may be interesting to note
Yeah,
is
see,
that
he
1
shot
year
it.
before this video was captured, a small Texas town rancher found a strange-looking carcass of a coyote-like animal on his property. This happened after his neighbors reported that numerous cats and chickens were found dead, with their blood drained. However, the carcass was later examined by biology researchers at Texas State University, who determined that this creature was most likely a hybrid of a wolf and coyote.
Yeah, there you go.
Are we seeing that same creature on this dashcam video? No one can say. Even the DNA test on the carcass found 1 year
But
earlier
where are you gonna get a wolf
didn't
at
explain
down
the
there?
creature's hairless skin
I don't know.
There ain't no
and
wolf down
other
there.
unusual
There's not a wolf down there.
features.
I don't know. You know how people get you know how people get stuff, man. I mean, it ain't that hard to get stuff.
Yeah, but that's. I don't think a wolf would
Yeah,
live
whatever
down
it
there
was,
just because of that.
whatever it was, you can tell it was a canine, obviously, but you can tell it had mange as well. But yeah, they stuffed it. It's been stuffed on that on some like museum they got out there. You can go and look at it. I think Ghost Hunters, Zach Vagans and all that went to check it out. Josh Gates from Destination Explorer went and checked it out.
Yeah.
Mythbusters did a thing on it. But yeah,
Pretty cool.
but the blood, like they said, the blood did like match like a coyote's and on it, and a wolf. So and, you know, I don't know. I guess where were they? What state did they say it was? Texas, right?
Puerto Rico.
Yep. Okay. But still, you know, I don't know. There could be some kind of like wolf thing out there.
2009 Bigfoot sighting.
I don't believe this one.
In May of 2009,
Well, you don't like Bigfoot sightings?
the infamous Lumpkin County dashcam
funny.
Bigfoot video was
All right,
recorded
watch.
by
You
a
tell me
Georgia
what you
State
see,
police
and I'll tell
officer's
you what I
cruiser.
see.
The video shows a very quick glimpse.
I
of
see a
creature
light. I see a
resembling
light
the legendary Bigfoot
reflecting off
running
something.
across a desolate road. In
See
the
the light
Crosstown
reflecting off
area
that
of
thing. It's not a
Georgia.
Bigfoot.
In the car were a county deputy and Mary
didn't see
Scott,
anything.
a civilian.
It's
who
a
was driving
shadow
the
off the
car
rail.
as
It's
part of a
reflecting,
citizens'
making a
law
shadow. You see that, right?
enforcement ride along.
Oh, they'll show it again.
According to Mrs.
Look.
Scott, they were going about 55 miles an hour on a curvy
Of course,
road.
you know it's gotta be shitty camera.
was
But
after
look,
midnight,
see, look, it's a shadow
strange
reflecting
silhouette
off that. You see that,
appeared out
right?
of nowhere.
See?
The officer hit the brakes, and both of them jumped out of the car.
Of course, Bigfoot only
However,
shows up with
they
a
couldn't
camera
find
that don't go
anything
over
strange.
720p.
A couple of months after this incident, the county sheriff concluded that the creature running across the road was a teenage boy wearing a gorilla suit. He said
Okay.
that he discovered the hoaxer after going door to door in the area, and after noticing two teenagers who acted very nervous. He even said that there's
Everyone
a
act
photo of
nervous
the
when
two
cops
boys
show
with
up.
the gorilla
I know I
suits.
do.
Still, many believe that wasn't a hoax. In 2011, an Animal Planet documentary team investigated the sighting and
How much
found
you wanna
that there
just
weren't
find a
any
Bigfoot?
teenagers living in the area at the time the video was shot. The team also requested a copy of the photo, but the Lumpkin County Sheriff refused to provide one.
Of course they did.
In addition, the online video was analyzed for evidence. It was found that the creature ran very fast, about 30 meters in 1.4 seconds. Much faster.
I still think
than
it's
a
the
human in a
shadow.
gorilla suit should be able to run. It seems like we may never get to the truth behind this video. whether it was a real Bigfoot site.
Oh no,
Worse than
please.
any other Bigfoot video I've ever seen.
Yeah, but the police are hiding something. You know how much people trust police.
A girl practicing witchcraft. The following video is perhaps one of the most intriguing police dash cam.
You know, we have to trust our law
mostly
enforcement.
because
They'll
there's
never
very
treat us
little
wrong.
Information about it on the internet. This video
Right.
was made by a police officer located somewhere in Azusa, California. On the 27th of June, 2015, the officer was taking a late-night drive when he came across a bizarre scene. As the timestamp shows, it was close to 4 a.m. at that time. As the officer turned left from the main road, he came across a woman standing in the middle of a dirt road, close to a fire. Some viewers of this video have said that the girl may have been on drugs, or that she was
Maybe she was
practicing
cold.
witchcraft. For a couple of seconds, nothing happens. The woman stands still, looking down at the fire that's burning right in front of her. Then, all of a sudden, she raises her hands and stares directly at the police officer's
Why is her
car.
face glowing?
At this moment, something strange happens. It
Sure.
seems like the police officer decides to turn off his car's headlights, which doesn't seem like a natural thing to do, especially in this situation. The video ends there, so we don't really know what happened next. Tell me
Do
in
we
the
have any,
comment
like...
section, what do you think
Do
about
we have,
these
like,
stories?
any...
In case you have
information
any additional
about
details about
where the
these
video come
cases,
from?
Feel free to share them. If you find it mysterious, then like this.
Which one do you think we should watch? 4 people who disappeared? 4 cases that were solved within... something in
With
20...
an insane twist.
Yeah, which one?
Let's do the insane. Let's
Insane
do the
twist.
4K cold cases.
Okay, 4 cold... Yep, let's do it.
The sun had barely crept over the horizon when the lifeless body of Megan Louise Rose was discovered at the base of Point Cartwright Cliffs, July 18, 1997. The sharp morning light cast long shadows over the
I think
jagged
a lot of
rocks
these
and
cold
the sea
cases, I think the
below
police cover up a lot
whispered
of stuff.
secrets to the shore.
Don't you think?
Secrets that would remain buried for nearly 3
My
decades.
uncle, when he don't
Her
pay...
car parked neatly nearby
When he don't pay child
suggested
support, they know
exactly
exactly where to find him.
a young woman driven to despair. The authorities ruled it as suicide. Megan Louise Rose was a
Yeah, but
25-year-old
don't you agree though? Like, don't you think some of this stuff's covered up? Like, they're like, we can't solve these mysteries and all that. And then now you got divers and all that finding these cars and all that sunk in the water. I think it's the police covering stuff up. I just have that feeling. Police or someone overhead covering something up.
Yeah, something is.
Yeah.
It's something. As I was gonna say, someone is
Yeah.
definitely above it all.
Yeah.
nursing assistant specializing in disability and
Sorry, I keep on pausing.
Friends described
you
her
good?
as a compassionate, full of life, and deeply committed to her work in Markula, Queensland. Megan resided at Unit 3 of 51, Keith Royal Drive, Markula, with her de facto partner, then 45-year-old Keith Lees, and his young son.
Yeah, I think it's somebody that saw
Megan
something they
was reported
shouldn't.
to have left the
Got
unit
put
in
witness
her
protection
vehicle at
program.
approximately 8 p.m. on the 17th of July, 1997, a day before the unfortunate discovery.
Got murdered.
Police initially believed she had taken her own life due to a high blood alcohol concentration, but her family never believed it. They insisted Megan wasn't the kind of person to take her own life. And as the years ticked by, the cracks in that ruling grew impossible to ignore. In 2009, the Queensland police reopened Megan's case, suspecting there was more to her death than met the eye. New evidence surfaced, evidence that cast doubt on the original suicide ruling.
Oh no. See,
Investigators
what did I tell you?
discovered that Lee had allegedly taken out a life insurance policy in Megan's
See?
name shortly after her death. Combined with inconsistencies in the initial forensic reports, The case was reclassified as suspicious.
That's my next. I want to ask my next girlfriend. Did she take a life insurance policy out on me?
Investigation by cold case detectives. The following year, they announced a $500,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. Homicide detectives visited a home in Victoria in June of 2023 to speak with Lees, then aged 70, concerning their investigation. A day later, Lees had disappeared, with his car
of course he did.
abandoned in Portland. But
why did it take until
disappear
2020,
into the wilderness.
2025? This
He
happened in
disappeared
1997.
into society under the alias David. Lees crisscrossed Australia, slipping through the cracks of the system with falsified documents, a driver's license, and a pensioner card. He collected government welfare and enjoyed the comforts of subsidized housing.
I bet he did.
Even religious groups, unaware of the man's dark past, offered him shelter and support. Lees evaded justice, but he couldn't run forever. In July of 2023, police issued Lees an arrest warrant and continued searching for him. He was spotted on CCTV around Victoria in the ensuing days. Authorities said at the time Lees may have been seeking casual work in the farming and fruit picking industries.
Farming and
public
fruit
was
picking
warned
industries.
not to approach him. While on the run, members of Lee's family publicly appealed for him to turn himself in, expressing concern for
Should've got
both
some
his
Rogaine
well-being
for that hairline, though.
and the
Am I
need
right?
for justice for Rosa's family. Due to the police's effort in seeking the help of the public, someone somewhere listening to a true crime podcast recognized David as Keith Lees. One anonymous tip, and just like that, the man who had eluded authorities for decades was finally within reach. After 18 months of evading authorities, Lees was arrested at a property on Kenthurst Road in Durrell, New South Wales on January 2nd, 2024. During his arrest, he allegedly assaulted a police officer, biting them, a final desperate act of defiance from a man who had spent years avoiding accountability. In New South Wales, Lees faced charges related to identity fraud and assault after he allegedly bit a police officer during an encounter with law enforcement. These charges were later withdrawn to facilitate his extradition back to Queensland. Following his extradition, Lees appeared in court where he faced charges for the alleged murder
That's wild.
of Megan Louise Rose.
He ran since
His case is
1997.
expected to continue through the legal system as
They
authorities
missed
seek
all of that
justice for the
stuff
long unsolved
until
crime.
2020. What did it say,
Queensland
two?
Police's reward offer of $500,000.
How
is
in the
still
fuck did they
standing.
miss all of that?
So, if someone has more information regarding this case, please inform the
My question is it the United States Police? 'Cause I heard he was in Australia. Anyway, is the police enforcement like that incompetent that they miss shit like that? Like, that's so weird, you know? Yeah, July 1997, 25 years. They discovered all the stuff. That's crazy, man. He ran for 25 years. Got away with it for 25 years.
On March 20th, 1977, in the morning, the teen received a call from an unknown male. Later that day, Dawn told her mother she was going to meet friends at a shopping center, but never returned home.
Damn, watching these videos, I don't tell my daughter she can't go out
Dawn
at all.
O'Hara was a sophomore at McKinley High School
Am
in
I right or am I
Honolulu,
right?
Hawaii. Described as a bright and kind-hearted teenager, she was well loved by her friends and family.
Someone didn't love her.
When Dawn did not return home that night, friends and family drove around the school campus looking for her. It was not clear whether the teen, described by classmates as quiet and shy, made it to the shopping center. Dawn was reported missing.
They said it was a high school,
The
right?
following
Or
morning,
university.
her body was discovered on the second floor of the
University.
school's English building.
Gotcha.
The crime shocked the entire community. Police launched an extensive investigation, interviewing numerous individuals, including Dawn's classmates and acquaintances. Among those interviewed were brothers Gideon and William Castro, both former students of McKinley High School.
Oh, it was a high school.
Neither was
I thought it was a
considered
college the way it
suspect,
looked.
and the case eventually went cold due to a lack of substantial leads. Investigators released sketches of a man and a car that 2 witnesses described as seen near the school's English building the night Dawn went missing. Decades passed and the memory of Dawn's tragic death lingered. In 2019, advancements in forensic technology prompted investigators to revisit the case. They re-examined evidence collected from the crime scene. Modern DNA testing methods enabled forensic experts to extract a partial genetic profile from the evidence in 2020. In 2023, new information led detectives to focus on the Castro brothers. With assistance from the FBI and Homeland Security investigations, investigators located the brothers and their adult children. DNA samples collected from the children revealed that the unidentified male DNA from the crime scene was consistent with being the biological father of one of the Gideon Castro children. Further testing directly linked Gideon Castro to the crime scene evidence. In January of 2025, nearly 48 years after Dawn's murder, 66-year-old Gideon Castro was arrested at a nursing home in Utah and charged with second-degree murder. He is currently awaiting extradition to Honolulu. This arrest brought a mix of emotion to Dawn's surviving family members. They expressed relief that progress had been made.
He pretty much done got away with it now, didn't he?
But also sorrow for the years of uncertainty and loss they endured. Detective Lieutenant Dina Stoms of the Honolulu Police Department acknowledged the
he's in a nursing home.
that led
So that tells you there's something. He's in a nursing home, so that tells you there's something going on. Dementia, old timers.
to the arrest, stating, "I want to thank all the individuals and agencies that made today's arrest possible. Thank you for all your dedication and commitment to the tireless pursuit of justice for Dawn and the Momohara."
You did hear about like the secret room they found in like the FBI buildings, right? Where they found all the new files and all that. I wonder if her stuff was in that. Since they're discovering stuff now, since Kash Patel is like exposing everything.
Might be.
I just wonder, half of these are coming from that
family. As the legal process unfolds, many questions remain. The motive behind the crime and the circumstances that led to it are still unclear. As the case moves through the courts, more details may emerge, shedding light on the dark mystery that has haunted Honolulu for nearly half a century.
What a piece of shit for murdering that girl.
She was young, beautiful, and a mother-to-be. She had dreams of building a better life for her son. But instead, her life ended in a rain-soaked...
After seeing this, I want to get my kid chipped now.
Her killer hid in plain sight, thinking he got away with murder. But in 2025, science finally knocked on his door. This is the story of Donna Ogilvie, a young woman whose life was brutally taken in 1998, and the cold case breakthrough that finally brought her killer to justice. Donna Ogilvie was more than a name in a case file. She was a 24-year-old, a young mother raising a 2-year-old son back in Vancouver. She had come to Toronto temporarily, hoping to earn enough money to eventually buy a house, a haven for her little boy. She was no stranger to the streets. Donna worked in the sex trade, and like so many others, she faced the dangers that came with it every night.
Of course she did.
Donna was savvy. Her friend said she was one of the most street-smart women out there. She knew the risks, or at least she thought she did. In March of 1998, her trip was almost over. She was planning to fly home soon to reunite with her son, but she never made it. The morning of March 8, 1998 was cold and damp in downtown Toronto. A passerby cutting through a parking lot near Carlton and Jarvis Street noticed something unusual: the body of a young woman. It was Donna. She had been strangled to death. It was a scene that told investigators this wasn't just a robbery gone wrong. Homicide detectives quickly honed in on the obvious theory. Donna's killer was likely someone she got into a car with that night. Working the sex trade meant accepting rides from strangers.
Red light district, man.
Donna was careful. Her friend said she wouldn't just get into any car. This man
Well, she
either
might have been
seemed harmless
forced.
or he didn't give her a choice. Investigators canvassed the nearby streets, asking cab drivers, fellow sex workers, and late-night regulars if anyone had seen Donna the night before. One detail stood out. She was wearing a long wolf fur coat and white spiked
Oh, did I
heels,
tell you that I got
an
like
outfit
120
no one
views
would
on the
forget easily.
in
But
total on the
the
stream
streets were
yesterday?
silent. No one could remember seeing her leave with anyone. Donna wasn't the first sex worker murdered in Toronto
Okay.
around that time. She was the fifth, found dead since 1997. All the victims were strangled, all found in isolated areas. Police feared a serial predator was hunting the city's most vulnerable women. But unlike some of them, Donna's killer hadn't tried to hide her. He left her right out in the open, like a message to anyone who cared to look. From the very start, police had one vital clue: DNA. Donna's body
Gotcha.
had yielded a male DNA profile, preserved even though DNA technology was in its infancy at the time. It was entered into Canada's national
See, I can see
database.
how stuff like that would happen, like
there
back
were
in
no
the
hits.
50s and 40s,
For years,
and like the
that
90s.
DNA
I can
sat
see
in cold
why stuff like that
storage
would
waiting
happen.
for science to catch
But
up.
nowadays, I just can't see how you can get
Donna's
away with
murder
anything.
rocked the sex worker community. A week after her death, over 100 people gathered at Allen Gardens for a candlelight vigil, holding signs with her name and demanding better protection for women like her. Nobody deserves this. Nobody,
Yeah,
said the
I agree.
mother
I
of
can
another
agree.
murdered woman. Donna's friend set up a trust fund for her son, hoping to give the little boy some kind of future, even if his mother's had been stolen. For years, investigators chased dead ends. At one point in May of 1998, police arrested a man named Daniel Atkinson, who was caught violently assaulting a sex worker near Jared Street, right near Donna's old corner.
Guess old habits die
He
hard,
strangled
right?
her, just like Donna. But his DNA didn't match the profile from Donna's murder. He was a predator, but not her predator. For over 20 years, Donna's case sat unsolved, but never forgotten. As DNA technology evolved, so did the chance to finally catch her killer. In 2022, Toronto police turned to a revolutionary technique: genetic genealogy. The forensic lab Othram Incorporated built an enhanced profile from the DNA recovered in 1998 and used genealogy databases to search for potential family matches. The search led them to a family in Newfoundland, and one man stood out. That man was Ronald Gordon Ackerman. In 1998,
Yeah, he looks like he's a predator, don't he?
Ackerman was just 25 years old, working as a truck driver in Toronto. He was no criminal mastermind, just an ordinary face blending in with the crowd. After Donna's murder, Ackerman quietly left Toronto, eventually settling back in Newfoundland. He built a normal life, working oil jobs and living under the radar. But his DNA was waiting, and science finally caught up. On February 6, 2025, Ackerman was flying from Edmonton back to Newfoundland. When his plane touched down from a layover in Toronto, police were waiting at the gate. After 26 years, Donna's killer was finally in custody. He was charged with first-degree murder, and the DNA match was
I bet you he didn't get long haircut.
Prosecutors will argue that Ackerman picked Donna up as a client, took her to the parking lot, and strangled her to death, either in a fit of rage or a premeditated attack. The DNA places him at the crime scene. There's no innocent explanation. The defense might question the use of
He
genetic
strangled her. How could it be
genealogy,
innocent?
but the science and the cold hard match is clear. For Donna's family, and especially her son, there's no such thing as closure. But there's comfort in knowing that the police never gave up, and that science gave Donna back her voice.
Number 4.
Next, we're talking about one of the UK's oldest missing persons cases, a case that remained unsolved for nearly 5 decades. The disappearance of Sheila Fox from 1972.
Such a cool name, Sheila Fox.
Sheila Fox was a bright, cheerful 16-year-old girl living in Coventry.
You still there, Hollow?
With her parents. Then, without warning, she disappeared,
Yeah, I'm here.
leaving no clues
didn't know.
behind. She was last seen in Coventry City Center. Her disappearance shocked her family and the community. People searched everywhere, but no trace of Sheila was found. Over time, the case went cold. Many feared they would never know what happened to her. Investigators considered various possibilities. Some speculated that Sheila had run away, possibly due to a personal or family issues. At the time, rumors that she was in a relationship with an older man led to theories that she might have eloped. However, without concrete evidence, these remained mere speculations. Other theories were more sinister, suggesting abduction or foul play. Yet, with no solid leads, the case remained unresolved. As years turned into decades, the hope of finding Sheila dwindled. The community mourned the loss, but the mystery persisted, becoming one of the UK's longest-running missing person cases. Fast forward to December of 2024. West Midlands Police decided to take another look at the case. They shared an old grainy black and white photograph of Sheila on their website and social media platforms, hoping to elicit new information from the public. This renewed appeal quickly yielded results.
Awesome.
Within hours, members of the public provided tips that led investigators to a woman living in another part of the UK.
Okay.
After speaking with her, police confirmed it was Sheila Fox. She was found alive and well.
She wasn't dead?
Finally bringing an end to a 52-year-old
Holy
mystery.
fuck, man.
Authorities have confirmed that she had been living under a different name in another part of the country.
What was
While
she running
specific
from?
Details about Sheila's life over the past 5 decades remain private. It's known that she had built a new life away from Coventry. Sheila's reasons for leaving are still private, and while we may never know the full story, the resolution of this case offers a sense of
Holy
closure.
shit, dude.
Detective Sergeant Jenna Shaw from the Cold Case Investigation Team expressed her delight in finding Sheila after more than 5 decades. For Sheila's family, the news was bittersweet.
That's wild.
While they were more relieved to know she was alive, the decades of separation and unanswered questions have left lasting impacts. This case underscores the complexities of missing person investigations and the enduring hope for answers. If you found this interesting, then be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button. You don't want to miss what other mysteries are waiting for you.
Let me see right quick. Let me see the videos I watched from a few years back are still marked because they got some pretty cool ones. Look, Bigfoot, nerd. Oh, Hollow. Shit.
Bigfoot.
Yeah, Bigfoot. 5 real life. Okay, I think it's this one. It might be this one, actually.
In this vast world we live in, there are forces at work that we can scarcely imagine. Scientists frantically work to uncover and expose the mysteries of the Earth. But even with all of their work, their admirable attempts to lay evidence and explanations at the feet of the unexplainable, there are still some things, some elements that we cannot yet hope to understand. It is this that we explore today.
Bet you that's in some Catholic church, you want to bet?
Are curses that killed. Curses have been attached to archaeological findings since the times when a few brave souls broke through into the tomb of Tutankhamun back in the early 1920s, where the mythos of the mummy's curse began to spread through popular culture. It was,
the mummy's
at
curse.
the time, considered little more than a flight of fancy by the upstanding gentlemen of the time that disturbing the remains of a creature long since removed from this world could possibly result in fatal consequences. But wherever great strides are made in this field, curses invariably seem to follow.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Moving on
So
to the early 1990s,
I was gonna say it ain't King
and to the
Tut.
story of one
No.
of the
You know, the curse of the King Tut. King Tut.
findings of the century, and the curse that followed.
The Egyptians, they believe in all that.
September of
Curses and all that.
1991, a pair of hikers discovered a corpse preserved in the ice of a vast glacier somewhere on the border between Italy and Austria. The body, which would later be dubbed Otzi, was half immersed in the ice.
That's
with only
crazy.
its torso and head visible above the frost.
Stayed attached
Otzi
too. Look
was
at that.
perfectly preserved, cocooned within the bitter European glacier. The ice effectively sheltered the remains from the forces of entropy and decay, allowing it to be examined by both scientists and historians. The corpse that had become known as Otzi the Iceman had, in essence, been naturally mummified by nature itself.
Yeah, it has. Look at
All
that.
of the insights that this remarkable find provided came at a terrible price. Those involved with the discovery, excavation, transportation, and examination of the body were said to be at risk, and the apparent curse of Otzi was to take lives. The first to die was a forensic pathologist, seen here, handling Otzi with his bare hands before the corpse was stored within a body bag. The man was reported to have died in a car accident around a year after the events that unfurled on the Austrian-Italian glacier under strange circumstances. Another died to the fury of nature, crushed beneath an avalanche. And one of the two men that originally discovered the ice-preserved mummy would fall 300 feet and later be found floating, face down, in a mountain stream. The possibility of a curse was, naturally, ridiculed, as is so often the case with these events. Possible connections between the fatal events were dismissed.
I don't know. I think it could have been what they were doing. Got them killed.
Putting aside the debate
going up them mountains and all that.
Cause, there's another, perhaps more disturbing aspect of Otzi that had only added to the Iceman's reputation. We do not know how he died. Evidence suggests that he died in a struggle of sorts, and that his death could have possibly been some form of ceremony or ritual. The body, while perfectly preserved, is grievously injured, with several cuts and bruises, and a fairly significant cranial impact. It's suspected that the blow to the head killed him, but the circumstances behind it are unknown.
Do we know how old the body is?
The strangest aspect of all of this, however, resides on the lower half of the body. Otzi's genitalia have been torn, cut, or otherwise removed, and were not found with the body. If these curses truly are the wrath of the dead, then we may have discovered the Iceman's motivation. No wonder
he's mad because they took his dick and balls.
From courts to coups now, and the tale of James Dean's Little Bastard, the car that ended his life, and many other lives besides. In 1955, James Dean traded in his 356 Porsche Super Speedster for a brand new 550 Spider. As an avid racer, Dean enjoyed entering weekend events, though his acting contracts usually stipulated that he was disallowed from racing while filming. A common theory, which has been corroborated by several of Dean's friends, is that the actor wasn't all that pleased about not being able to race while under contract, and chose to rebel by purchasing and modifying a series of racing cars and bikes for the purposes of amateur racing. He was showing his studio that despite their contract limitations, when between films, he would be racing as often and as dangerously as he cared to. A simple but potent act of rebellion, if you will. The name Little Bastard is said to have stemmed from this dispute. It was alleged that one of the Warner brothers had called Dean by the moniker during the dispute. In response, Dean had the name painted onto the car when it was customized.
Little Bastard.
The first sign of trouble, however, came when Dean met Alec Guinness, who was perhaps best known for playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. While he was being
Oh, he
shown
played
the
Obi-Wan
car,
Kenobi? I didn't know
Alec
that.
Guinness remarked that the Little Bastard was sinister,
cool.
and told
I didn't know the
Dean,
dude from House from a Haunted
"If you
Hills
get
played
in that
Obi-Wan
car,
Kenobi.
You'll be found dead in it by this time next week."
It's pretty
You'd
dope.
think that a warning from Obi-Wan Kenobi would be taken a little
Oh, is
more
that about that
seriously,
car?
but
Yeah.
Dean
Apparently he warned
reportedly
him about
laughed
it.
off the warning. 7 days later, James Dean died in a head-on collision. Little Bastard had apparently been traveling at 85 miles per hour. The actor was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. A tragic end to a promising career. But that was not the end. The wreck of Little Bastard was acquired by George Barris, the man that originally customized the car. Shortly after that, the vehicle rolled off its trailer and broke a mechanic's leg.
Dang.
Deciding to break up the car for parts, Barris sold 2 key components, the drivetrain and the engine, to a pair of racers. However, during a race in which both of their cars contained parts from Little Bastard, disaster struck. One racer struck a tree and was killed instantly.
Damn.
While the other's car locked up and rolled,
car really hates people.
resulting in severe injuries. This was not the last.
Must be
however.
cursed.
Yeah.
2 of the tires had survived the initial accident, which had claimed James Dean's life, and these were sold to a new owner. Both tires burst simultaneously,
That's wild.
causing the car they'd been fitted to violently swerve off of the road.
That's wild.
After that debacle, no more parts were sold from the vehicle. But despite that, it still wasn't over. 2 thieves, attempting to pilfer parts from the vehicle, managed to injure themselves in the process, leaving
How in
some
the fuck
fairly
did they do
gruesome
that?
marks on the upholstery of Little Bastard. The events continued. There were attempts to display the seemingly malevolent car that repeatedly failed. Between a garage
Oh my
fire
God.
that failed to harm the vehicle and it slipping from its display mounting and breaking a high school student's hips, these attempts were quickly abandoned. The final straw came when the truck transporting the vehicle lost control, which somehow caused the driver to fall out of the cab, only to be crushed by
How in the world did that happen?
which had also gotten loose. Enough was enough. While being transported back to Barris, the car apparently vanished. And that was the end of that.
The car
Or was it?
vanished.
To this day, we don't know the fate of Little Bastard, where it was taken to.
Was the car
or what
alive?
its ultimate
No, they
fate
know.
was,
They
is
know
a
where it's at now.
complete mystery.
Yeah.
But assuming that it's gone for good,
It was
perhaps
somebody
it's for the best.
somebody
Little
trapped it
Bastard
into a
is
cement wall.
indeed a
Oh,
sinister
really?
entity.
Yeah, they found the parts all destroyed and everything like that, and a person
Live fast, die.
end up telling. I think it was like a lawyer or something like that. The guy, the original lawyer, that was over the guy was like.
Talking about
I
James
guess the
Dean?
guy's lawyer. Yeah, his lawyer knew exactly where it was at.
It's fucking crazy.
So it was actually somebody like not cement, but blocked it in and made sure like nobody else could get hurt.
It's crazy.
And he eventually came out because they were offering like a reward for it. I think I can't think of actual who the group was that was looking for it, but they was offering like I think it was like $500,000 for it or something like that. And
That's
so he's
crazy.
like, yeah, I can tell you where it is and stuff like that, but you got to make sure this is anonymous.
Okay, I guess they didn't keep it. I guess they didn't keep it anonymous.
No, they did not.
Wow, that's crazy. That is nuts.
But they're supposed to be restored. I think they're talking about restoring it.
That's crazy.
I don't know if I'd want to restore something that's got like a curse like that, especially everybody that's drove has died. So nah, I'm good.
Have that thing shipped to a warehouse where I'm never around it. Yeah, that's crazy though. Why did the truck driver jump out of the truck? That was odd.
I don't know.
That's crazy. Let's see what this one's about.
Young. It's a creed that has existed for generations, most often attributed to the rock genre of music, though its sentiment is often shared across the spectrum
that's
of
your stuff, the
modern
music.
media. The idea of
hollow
or
shit.
excess and of short lives full of action, excitement, and ecstasy is an appealing image to some. So,
I was gonna say,
perhaps
that sounds
not
about
all that
right.
surprising that many modern rock
Oh, yeah,
and
the
pop
drugs.
stars
That's why you're
fail
talking
to
about the
make it
drugs.
to their 30th
Yep.
birthday.
Yep.
Be it drugs, violent circumstances, or sheer misfortune, more than a few musical innovators seem to follow through
That's
on
what
this
took a lot of
philosophy.
great artists.
Disturbingly,
Sure
a
did.
large percentage of rock
27
and pop
Club, man.
burnouts have died at the age of 27. The 27 Club, as it's become known, is a collection of musicians that died at
I didn't even know they were
the age of
talking about the
27.
27 Club.
It
That's crazy.
first came to public attention following the suicide of Kurt Cobain. In an interview with Nirvana's late frontman's mother, she repeated that she had told him not to join that stupid...
Say what? What were you saying?
I was gonna say that definitely has nothing to do with that. Kurt
What?
Cobain was. I don't think he committed suicide. I think he was.
Yeah, but
close to exposing things.
yeah, but that did he was the one that everyone started doing that 27 Club. Amy Winehouse is a part of it. There's a what's his name? The black guitarist guy. He's a part of it. There's so many. It's not.
I was gonna say. I wonder if Chester is part of it.
Yeah, I think he is part of it. Cause the age he died at, he was, close. But yeah, 27 Club, from understanding of it, it's like you have to be like close to the age of 27, or you died like how Kurt Cobain and all of them died. Oh, did you? There's a documentary or
Say Kurt Cobain was not even close to 27.
There was a documentary. I think it's just a tragic way of like people in the rock genre died, but you have to be young to be in it. What's his name? What's his name said he thought he was gonna be a part of it. Machine Gun Kelly. He did a whole song on it called 27. James Jackson Johnson. He still talks about being a part of it because all the drugs he does.
Could be.
Yeah, but Amy Winehouse, she wasn't 27. But yeah, there's so many people that are in the 27 Club. I'm trying to think of the rock magician. The guitarist. I'm trying to remember his name. He's in it.
Cobain. In an interview with Nirvana's late frontman's mother, she repeated that she had told him not to join that stupid club. This interview hit the internet, and though Cobain's...
Oh yeah, what I was saying, I totally forgot. What I was saying, there was a person that wanted to buy Kurt Cobain's house, but he wanted to know if the brain matter was still on the wall. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he didn't like want the police to clean up the stuff and all that.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah. And they auctioned off
That'd
the.
make me really suspicious about people.
They auctioned off the shotgun he killed himself with. For a lot of money.
What?
Yeah, for a lot of money. I can't remember how much it was auctioned off for, but it was a lot. They spent a lot to get that gun. But now it's in like now it's like in the news. Now they made like a Kurt Cobain museum, and that shotgun's there.
Really been referring to the crazy number of suicides in their immediate family. The media took the name and ran in a whole different direction with it. The 27 Club was born, and as the list of artists that had lost their lives at the age of 27 was compiled, the results were alarming. Brian Jones drowned on July the 3rd, 1969. He was 27. Jimi Hendrix choked on his
That's who I was trying to talk about.
On September the 18th, 1970. He was 27. Janis Joplin, drug overdose on October 4th, 1970. She was 27. Jim Morrison, heart failure, 1971. 27.
Yeah, you know there's
Kurt
drugs to that.
Cobain shot himself, 1994. 27.
He was 27,
Amy
okay.
Winehouse, alcohol poisoning, 2011. 27.
I didn't think she was 27. I thought she was
The pop singer
older.
once remarked that she feared she would end up joining the club. I have a feeling I'm gonna die young.
Feared?
The
Yeah.
signs are there. 27 is a dangerous age for musicians drawn towards hedonism, excess, and self-destructive urges. Scientifically speaking,
You say
there's no logical
hedonism?
reason, no
Yeah, I think
biological
he did.
basis for this phenomenon.
Well, we
Not
wind
only
it back.
that, some rock stars seem
I see
are
what he
there.
said.
27 is a dangerous age for musicians drawn towards hedonism,
Yeah,
excess,
hedonism.
and self-destructive urges.
Yeah.
Scientifically speaking, there's no logical reason, no biological basis for this phenomenon. Not only that, some rock stars seem destined to live forever, despite their frantic lifestyle. But for the unfortunate few, the club always seems to be seeking fresh meat.
What's wrong? He was 27.
Right.
That's nuts.
888-888-888.
Oh yeah.
As far as cell phone
Cursed
numbers
phone
go,
number.
it's a good one. 9 8s. Easy to remember, albeit somewhat susceptible to pocket dials. Except that this is a phone number with a bloody history, now denied to the public for fears of invoking its apparent curse. First granted by Bulgarian telecommunications company Mobitel to its own CEO, the number seemed harmless enough, an amusing phone number, but not deadly. Unfortunately, the Mobitel CEO, Vladimir Grashnov, was to die of cancer in 2001. He was only 48 years old. Rumors of shady practices being employed by Grashnov persist to this day, despite a flawless business record, and there are some that speculate that Grashnov was assassinated by a competitor via radioactive poisoning. In defense of these rumors, Grashnov wouldn't be the only Vladimir to have been implicated in the deliberate murder of another individual via radiation poisoning.
That's crazy.
Though no official evidence has ever been presented to support this claim. Shortly afterwards, the number was assigned to one Konstantin Dimitrov, a Bulgarian mafia boss, not the nicest of people by all accounts. Dimitrov was assassinated in the Netherlands while traveling to inspect
had the same number?
businesses and individuals associated with his billion-dollar drug smuggling ring. In a scene straight out of an action thriller movie, the 31-year-old was shot by a sniper while eating dinner with a model in 2003.
Damn.
Jealous Russian mob bosses were rumored to be behind the killing, but unsurprisingly, no evidence or charges were ever brought
Course not.
forward. The third and final owner of the number was the businessman Konstantin Dishlev, who,
They probably
in
trolled the
addition to
police.
working as an estate agent in the city of Sofia, was responsible for the distribution of a fairly huge supply of cocaine. He was mowed down outside of an Indian restaurant in 2005, shortly after police intercepted over $150 million worth of cocaine as it was being smuggled in from Colombia by his network.
What's this got to do with the number?
And 3
I guess they had the phone number.
5 years. Unsurprisingly, the apparently cursed number has been suspended since the police investigations
they all had the number.
Business dealings were closed, and it seems unlikely that it'll ever be passed on again. 0888-888-888.
Yeah, it's not gonna be passed on, but here we are.
Who would you assign the cursed phone number to, given the chance? Post your suggestions down in the comments below.
Who would you pass it on to? Sure, let's do it.
Someone I don't like.
Exactly.
When I rise from the dead, the world shall tremble. There are some tombs that you probably shouldn't open. Though, as a rule, archaeologists are generally steadfast believers in logic, and thus don't really care to entertain such silly superstitions. So when the Russians decided to crack open a tomb in Uzbekistan, despite the local populace showing up in force to prevent it, and the rather ominous warning from earlier being rather prominently displayed on the tombstone, they really should have gotten the hint when inside the tomb was a second warning, declaring, "Whoever disturbs my tomb
get 2 warnings.
will unleash an invader more terrible than I." But Stalin himself had ordered the tomb to be opened, and it was largely considered to be unwise to open the all-powerful, all-knowing leader of Soviet Russia. The date was June
a few
20th,
years ago. We were talking about
1942.
Stalin, and someone was trying to
2
tell
days
me
after the tomb was
he
opened,
wasn't over Russia. I was like, he was over Russia.
The tomb belonged to Timur, a Mongolian warlord that allegedly massacred.
They're like, no, he was over there where all the elephants and all that. I was like, what the fuck's in Russia? Elephants and all that.
Over the course of his 68 years of life.
There's parts of Russia that's just fucking cold all the time, you know?
This was a man that was recorded to have built a vast pyramid of human
They got every season you can think of.
because he was tired
it's a big ass
of carrying
country.
them around. Why was Timur carrying around the skulls of his enemies? Because he was a Mongolian warlord.
Oh, he was a
and
Mongolian.
at least a little bit crazy. Now, it's hard to argue with the ludicrous idea that the opening of a Mongolian tomb single-handedly caused the Nazis to invade Russia. Indeed, it seems unlikely that it was a direct cause. While the Germans are globally renowned for their collaborative efficiency, the planning and preparation alone that would have gone into such an invasion
It's a
would have
Trump
taken
gathering
far
now, ain't it?
more than 2 days.
Yeah.
Some have suggested that the second warning was less a direct consequence and more of a warning that the opening of Timur's tomb would herald a greater, more invasive evil than the man that collected the skulls of the dead and the dying as if they were penny stamps. To be fair, a surprise invasion from Nazi Germany would probably qualify. After a few months, Stalin reportedly began to believe in the curse of Timur and ordered that he be returned to his tomb and reinterred with full Islamic burial rites.
Oh, so
The
now he went over to
reburial
like
was
being
performed in December of
Jewish.
1942. A month later, the Nazi invasion force surrendered after their loss in the truly grisly Battle of Stalingrad. There are those that
That's only
attribute
2
the
years.
Soviet victory as a sign that Timur's curse had been lifted. At the time, very few argued otherwise. Timur's bones were apparently satisfied with this, but millions of soldiers and civilians alike lost their lives in the bitter Russian wastes to satisfy his wrath. The corpse is safely contained within his tomb to this
Oh, so they
day,
sealed it back up.
though there is always the
Yeah,
risk
that's
that
what it
some
looks like.
brave archaeologist turned tomb
Here you
robber
guys have it. A
may attempt
Mongolian
to once more
caused
test
the Nazis
temper
to
of
rise up.
Timur. May he have mercy. If you
Um,
find it mysterious, then
yeah, let me show
share
you this song
and
right
like
quick.
this video. Also,
Um,
be sure to subscribe because you really don't want to.
this one right here. Yeah, this dude thinks he's going to be in the 27 Club. Like every song he has been doing the past few years has been about the 27 Club. That's how I look when I'm stressed. Guess that's supposed to be Kurt Cobain. Yep, Kurt Cobain. Little Pete. I think all the places I could get a pentagram, I don't think it would have been on my mouth cheek. Do you? You know what the crazy thing is? He died from allergic reaction to Cheetos over in the UK, I do believe, because the powder they used wasn't they used nuts, and he didn't know that.
Oh, that's weird. I did not know that.
But yeah, even what's his name thought he was gonna be a part of the 27 Club, like Machine Gun Kelly. What is it that you say you can't listen to his music?
I don't like him. I'm not a big fan of him.
I hate to break it to you. It sounds like his music to me sounds like they all sound the same, do they not?
They kind of.
They all like blend together. Let's check this one out. It's 10 o'clock. I'm gonna have to finish it on this one.
Mysterious events intrigue us all.
Yeah, same here.
Especially those that are highly unusual. Our civilization's history holds numerous mysterious events that are making scientists, historians, and enthusiasts dedicate their entire careers to solving at least some of them. These mysterious events can be connected to our civilization's knowledge that has been lost through time, or are simply too difficult for our current understanding of the universe to explain. There are also conspiracy theories that are telling us that some of the biggest mysteries are connected to authorities.
That's one of the biggest ones right there.
Either way, many of these mysteries seem destined to remain unsolved. Hi, this is Mr. Mysterious, and today I'll be
saw something like that. We were let's say we're coming back from Michigan, and we saw stuff in the sky like that.
These most intriguing events that are still shrouded in mystery.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
The Toxic Lady. The Toxic Lady is an unexplained medical case that is connected to a woman named Gloria Ramirez, who made numerous people ill after becoming exposed to her body and blood. On the evening of February 19, 1994, Ramirez was rushed to the emergency room of Riverside General Hospital in Moreno Valley, California. She was suffering from the effects of advanced cervical cancer. In addition, she was suffering
could that be the
from
radiation
tachycardia,
oozing out?
which is an abnormal
Yeah, the radiation they put in. I think that's
while being highly confused
probably what that
at the
is.
same time. The medical staff injected her with a combination of sedatives to try to calm her down, in addition to the other drugs that are associated with her health condition. However, Ramirez responded poorly to this treatment, which is when the staff
the body
decided
rejecting it.
to defibrillate
That's probably
her
why everyone
heart.
got sick.
At that point, several people started seeing an oily substance coming out of Ramirez's body through the skin. Also, the medical staff noticed a fruity smell that was coming from the patient's mouth. During
Yeah,
this
I think that's what it
commotion,
was.
2 nurses drew blood from Ramirez's arm and noticed an ammonia-like smell coming
Let me
from the
see.
tube.
Okay, don't say they
in
were
addition
solved.
to strange particles
Ammonia?
floating in the
Okay.
blood. This is when the medical staff started feeling strange.
Yeah, it's that radiation
while
coming
3
out.
of the staff members passed
That
out.
chemo.
Overall, 23 people became ill and 5 were hospitalized. After 45 minutes of struggle, Ramirez was pronounced dead from kidney failure. California's Department of Health and Human Services decided to investigate the case. With 2 scientists on the team, there was no logical or scientific explanation. They believed the hospital workers suffered from mass hysteria. However, the 2 nurses
They
that were
all suffer
handling
from the same
blood
thing?
had a series of health
Hysteria?
problems, which
That's
proves that
bullshit.
something made them sick. 2
That's
months
bullshit.
after Ramirez died, her body was released for an independent autopsy and burial. However, the body was too badly decomposed. 10 weeks after her death, Ramirez was buried in an unmarked grave.
Decomposed after 10 days?
Yeah, I'm saying it's probably there's something that was reacting weird.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, right here. This
definitely
is
radiation.
this when we're coming back. I won't say it was Michigan. It was a long time ago. We're coming back from like Michigan or Ohio, wrestling on that, and when we're coming back on I-95 coming back. That's exactly what we saw. We saw something like that, except it was going straight down, and then like circled around and did stuff. Somewhere I got pictures of it. I need to find the pictures of it. It was crazy. It was crazy looking, man.
Strange lights that appear in the sky. However, many of these lights can be explained, but there are cases that defy any kind of rational explanation. The Hesteland lights are unexplained nocturnal lights observed over Hesteland Valley in central Norway. These lights always appear at night, and they seem to float above the valley.
I remember when you say those were UFOs. Remember that?
To float up to 2 hours. There are instances of very short bursts of white light that happen almost instantly. In addition, the lights sometimes move very slowly, and they appear to be standing still, while at other times they seem to move back and forth. What's interesting about the Hesteland lights is that it's not a rarely seen phenomenon. It was first reported in the 1930s, with especially high activity between 1981 and 1984. During this period, the lights were being observed 15
Well,
to 20
weird,
times
just because
per
1930 didn't really
week,
have
which
anything like
attracted
that.
numerous
Yeah.
tourists to the region.
Of course, you know, not too long from that, they had the Salem witch trials and all that, and that wasn't far from the
It is no
1900s.
wonder that numerous UFO enthusiasts
You know?
believe that this valley is a portal to other worlds. However, these strange bursts of light attract scientists as well, who are trying
Of course,
to
the Salem witch
rationalize
trials,
and
that's just a
explain
fucked up part of
this
history, you know?
Today,
Oh, yeah,
the
definitely.
scientific community believes that the light orbs are coming from air that is turned into plasma. Experts have also managed to measure the size, shape, and speed of the orbs. In addition to
Will you be able to
examining
play
the
games
elements
Thursday,
using
or
radar and
you be busy
spectral
Thursday?
analysis. These tests revealed that the orbs make no sound.
Evening,
they appear
yeah,
to be
probably
cool,
be able
Yeah, it'll be
and they
evening.
Don't leave scorch marks on the ground.
Yeah, evening I'll be able to.
However, if they
I know
touch the
Friday,
ground,
I know
they
we're pretty good. We can do
sterilize the
really
area,
whatever we want up
killing
here.
the soil microbes.
Okay.
Even though this
Friday and
coincides
Saturday.
with the plasma theory, since plasmas can be cool to touch and can kill microbes, they also require
Tomorrow I just gotta be up
incredibly
early
high
because I have to go to the
temperatures
doctor, and
a
then
lot
after
of
that,
energy to be produced, which is
I
why
gotta do
this
some work and then
theory
head straight to
can't
wrestling
explain
training.
the Hesteland phenomenon.
So I know I'll be streaming tomorrow.
Okay. So,
The men
yeah,
in
Thursday
black.
we can do something.
Yeah.
The 20th century saw a massive
All right,
increase
man.
in reported UFO and alien-related sightings around the world, particularly in the United States. And along with these sightings came a mysterious force that put the fear into every ufologist's mind: the men in black. Many believe that 50s and 60s was a paranoid time in America, with the proliferation of McCarthyism, and many citizens were worried about the actions of their government, particularly what was
they're
being
worried about
kept
the actions of the
secret.
government.
And this is where the Men in Black come in. The theory goes that the government is fully aware of alien life and visitors to our planet, but have taken it upon themselves to keep this information secret from the population. Whether this is to keep us from panicking, because the government is keeping the knowledge and technology to themselves.
Now they're telling us all about it.
With the
Don't you find that
aliens to
crazy?
push forward a new world order.
Here's Senate.
No one knows.
The Senate is having
And
hearings
every
on UFO
conspiracy
sightings.
theorist has their own ideas, but many accounts of UFO sightings involve.
Of course, Joe Rogan told us about all this stuff years ago.
Men in Black. The first apparent encounter with a man in black was in 1947, when a man named Harold Dahl claimed that he was visited by a man wearing a dark suit and was warned to keep quiet about his alleged sighting of a UFO on Maury Island in Washington state. Since then, many people have claimed to have been visited by agents of this secret organization, all of whom tried to stop stories of UFO sightings from being reported. As a main focus of ufologists and conspiracy theorists,
Keep my
the Men in
wife's
Black have
name
been
out your
featured
fucking
in
mouth.
a wide range of movies and books, but have never been officially acknowledged by the U.S. government.
Will
If
Smith ruined
aliens
his whole
are
career,
actually
man.
visiting us,
For that
then
stupid
the government
shit.
would certainly be aware of it and would likely have a department that deals with the events.
But it was already
Are
going
the Men in
downhill by then.
Black actually agents
Yeah,
of a
he's
highly
just
classified
pulled the trigger on
department
it.
of the government, or simply a facet of deluded paranoia from those that believe they have been abducted? Perhaps we will never know. But it certainly makes you wonder what the government is keeping secret, and the lengths to which they will go to maintain these secrets.
Epstein's flight logs.
Tom and Shud case.
So you find it odd Trump was going to
The
release
Tom and
those
Shud
and then he
case
didn't?
is an unsolved case of an unidentified man, today known as the Somerton Man.
Oh yeah,
That was found
now they're saying that now you see the latest thing that's going on now. Epstein didn't kill himself, but in the footage, they're missing like minutes of the footage and all that, and Trump's team are saying nah, that's just a glitch in the system. It's pretty crazy shit, don't you think?
dead
I think it's all crazy.
1948 on Somerton Beach,
They're
Australia.
the most corrupt mess
The
in the
man
world
had
anyway.
no identification, just an unused rail ticket, a bus ticket, a comb,
Oh, juicy fruit.
gum, cigarettes, and a paper with the phrase Tom and Shud, which means finished in Persian.
Oh,
Local
okay.
librarians
The
were able to
extraterrestrials know
identify the
Persian.
piece of paper and conclude that it has been
Huh.
torn from the final page of a book that originates from the 12th century Book of Poems. Police focused on finding this book, which quickly grew into a nationwide search.
The book never
However,
existed.
This led to more mysteries, since an anonymous man came forward saying that he found a copy of the book in the back seat of his
Oh,
car
yeah,
around the
wait.
same time the body was found. It was also discovered that the book had several lines of random capital letters written on the last page, which are believed to be a code. Even though the initial assumption was that Somerton Man was poisoned, since his spleen had grown to 3 times its normal size, and his liver was also damaged.
That's
This
fucking
remains
nuts.
just an unproven theory. There was no other evidence, since no trace of poison was found in the man's system. However, this led to another clue. A woman that worked as the receptionist at a nearby hotel where the body was found claimed that a strange man was staying in the hotel at the time of Somerton Man's death, carrying a black case with a long needle inside. In addition, the code that was written on the last page of the book has been cracked. People working on the case claim that the code stands for It's Time to South Australia, Mosley Street. Interestingly enough,
Okay.
a phone number
That
was
makes
also
sense.
found in the book, belonging to a former Army nurse who lived on Mosley Street. She later claimed that she had a copy of the book, but had given it to a man named Alfred Boxall, whom she had served with. Even though this was never proven, It was believed that Boxall was working for military intelligence, while the Somerton man was actually a Soviet spy poisoned by Boxall. In 2009,
So we're extraterrestrials.
University of Adelaide professor Derek Abbott attempted to solve this long-dormant mystery. The original autopsy report was lost, but Abbott was still able to analyze photos of the dead man. He discovered that Somerton man has a strangely shaped ear, in addition to hypodontia, a condition where one or more teeth fail to fully develop.
Oh, okay.
These characteristics
It's pretty cool.
very rare, with a chance of two unrelated people having both of these conditions.
The ear,
is
not
more
the
than
fact he was
1
poisoned.
in 10 million. The nurse that was living on Mosley Street had a son that shared the same odd features with Somerton man. A living relative of the nurse worked with Professor Abbott to petition Australia's government to exhume Somerton man and confirm the DNA connection. But so far, the authorities have not agreed.
Bet not. They're probably a part of it.
The wow signal.
The
One of
what
the biggest
signal?
mysteries
Wow.
we, as a species,
W-O-W?
face
Wow.
today
Yeah,
is the
wow.
question of
W-O-W.
whether or not we are alone
Oh, okay.
in the universe. While most theorists agree, it is more likely than not that life exists elsewhere.
Looks like an
we
eye.
don't yet have the technology to travel to these distant worlds. So detecting extraterrestrial life is proving to be very tricky. The only thing we can do for now is to point receivers towards deep space and hope to hear broadcasts.
Yeah, this is pretty
being
cool.
sent
Check
in our
check this
direction.
out, man.
This is what various organizations,
Listen to what
such
this sounds
as
like.
SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, are doing, and there have been some interesting results. One of the projects carried out by SETI was based at the Ohio State University's Big Ear Telescope, which was listening out for signals. In 1977, when Jerry R. Amon was sifting through data, he found something very unusual that the telescope had picked up on August 15th. Known as the wow signal, because of the note he wrote next to what he had found on the printed page. Amon had found what is considered to be the best candidate for an alien transmission that has ever been recorded. The telescope appeared to have received a strong narrowband radio signal emanating from the Sagittarius constellation and features all of the expected hallmarks of a transmission with an extraterrestrial origin. Since the publication of the find, scientists have strived to explain its origin in simpler means. But the general consensus is still that the signal originated from where they originally thought.
It said, wow,
and
did you hear
it's
that?
unlikely to have been caused by a natural occurring phenomenon. Frustratingly, this was the only time this signal has been received, despite many other telescopes being pointed in exactly the same direction. Could this be proof of a single transmission sent by aliens, or simply an error with the equipment? We will likely never know for sure in this example, but it surely can't be too long until we find definitive evidence of extraterrestrial life. Feel free to add any kind of information that might help us get more clues about these strange events, as well as share other cases that you've heard about. If you find it mysterious, then share and like this video. Also, be sure to subscribe, because you don't want to miss what's coming next. As always,
I'm already subscribed.
thank you for watching.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Did I tell you? Did I tell you the Jurassic Park thing come in? Thing's pretty cool looking.
Oh no, you didn't tell me that came in. You said you was waiting on it.
Yeah, it come in. It's pretty cool. Got the stream up. I'll show it to you. This thing is pretty cool. I find the camera. This thing is so cool. Look at this. This thing is so cool. I can't take the plastic off. I'm reselling them. This thing is so cool. Look at that.
All right, I'll be right back.
I accidentally knocked off the camera. He walked away. I haven't knocked off the microphone. What do you think, guys? You like that? You like how we did the Walmart version of Joe Rogan? That was fun. I actually enjoyed that. Once he gets back, I'll show it off. But yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that. That was dope. Alright, I accidentally knocked the microphone off. You didn't hear a word I said. I said, you've got the stream up. I'll show it to you right quick. I accidentally muted the microphone when I was trying to tell you about it. Yeah, this thing's pretty cool though. Check it out. This thing's pretty dope. I think it's pretty dope. I got about 3 of them to sell.
Oh, that thing is pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you see it? Do you see it unscrewed? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
These are like little shot glasses in it, so it's like super cool. Like they open, you like I don't know if you can see it too well, but they're like little shot glasses in them. I can't open them because I'm reselling this one.
It looks like shot glasses, but they're like test tubes.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a shot glass. They're pretty cool. Like it's the from Jurassic Park, you know, when he was trying to steal the dinosaur DNA.
It is pretty sick. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, they're pretty dope. Oh, did you go away? Did you leave? I think you left.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, what was that noise?
Oh, I clicked out of
Oh, you left the
watching
thing. Yeah. Anyway, that